Chapter 723. 723 Killing in 3 moves. Let's go. The 2 peak-tier kings turned around and ran without hesitation. It was too terrifying. If he didn't run, he would die. However, one of them suddenly turned into a cloud of blood mist with a bang in the process of running. As for the other one, it suddenly split into 2 while it was running. The 4 peak-tier kings were all dead. Now it's your turn. A powerful aura rose from Lu Ming's body and enveloped the blood fiend. Yun Sha's pupils contracted sharply. The strength displayed by Jianfu Liu and Xian Yanqing had shocked him. You think you can kill me? No matter how strong a peak king tier is, he's still a peak king tier. I'll let you all know how strong a spiritual ocean tier warrior is. Bloody Ghost's body emitted a thick blood-colored mist. His eyes turned red and so did his hands. Blood hand. Yun Sha stepped forward and struck a palm at Lu Ming. The smell of blood filled the air, and it was filled with the smell of corrosion. Even the air was emitting terrifying crackling sounds. Middle first level of the spiritual ocean tier, perfect to test out the power of the prison-suppressing heavenly technique. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. His war dragon true energy howled violently as he struck out with his palm like a heavenly blade. It was as if a divine monument had been condensed in this palm, suppressing everything. Bang! Lu Ming's palm and Blood Fiend's palm collided with each other, producing a dull sound. In the next moment, everyone saw a figure retreating madly, blood spurting out of his mouth. This person was Shueisha. At that moment, Yun Sha's palm had already become mush. His eyes were filled with disbelief and fear. How can he be so strong? How can he be so strong? Yun Sha roared in shock. He felt as if an ancient divine mountain had crashed into him with Lu Ming's palm just now. His internal organs were all injured and his body felt like it was about to crack. Spiritual ocean tier? I've already seen it, so let's go. Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and his body was like a stream of light. He appeared in front of Blood Fiend in an instant and struck him with his palm again. Boom. This time, Bloody Ghost was forced back thousands of meters. His arms exploded and turned into ashes. Not only that, a big hole was blown in his chest and his whole body was distorted. If it wasn't for his profound cultivation and powerful body, he would have died. Spare me, he shouted in horror. Don't kill me. What welcomed him was a spear light. The dazzling spear light pierced through the void and pierced through Bloody Ghost's heart. Bloody Ghost, dead. Everyone present was stunned. 3 moves. In just 3 moves he had killed a Sea of Soul Realm expert. Was he still a peak-tier king? It was truly terrifying. Luo Xian, Luo Ming and the rest were also shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength had improved and become stronger compared to when he was on Golden Sand Island. We're both peak-tier king tiers, but I'm far too inferior. Qin Dao shook his head with a bitter smile. The prison-suppressing heavenly art is indeed a demigod-level bloodline martial technique. It's really powerful, but the amount of true yuan it consumes is also shocking. Lu Ming smiled and devoured Blood Fiend's storage ring and blood essence. I'll leave these people to you. Shaoqing, brother Jian, let's go. The first sentence was directed at the Flame Chamber of Commerce, and the second sentence was directed at Xian Yanqing and Jianfu Liu. The strongest few had been killed, and the rest of the Blood Fiend pirates were left to the Flame Chamber of Commerce. After all, the Flame Chamber of Commerce still had 4 peak-tier kings. They would definitely take this opportunity to annihilate the Blood Fiend pirates. Lu Ming and the other 2 soared into the sky. As expected, they heard deafening battle cries behind them. Lu Ming. Luo Xian muttered as she looked into the distance. She then sighed and joined the battle. The 3 of them sat cross-legged on the giant snake puppet and continued on their journey. Brother Lu, you're getting stronger and stronger. I don't think I'm your match anymore. Jianfu Liu said with a bitter smile. Brother Jian is too humble. Lu Ming smiled faintly. I'm not being humble, I'm just telling the truth. Jianfu Liu then looked at Xian Yanqing. Although Xian Yanqing didn't reveal much, he gave him a feeling of unfathomability. He estimated that if they really fought, he wouldn't be a match. The most shocking thing was that Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming's will of heaven and earth were still at level 1. If their will of heaven and earth broke through to level 2, how terrifying would that be? If the 2 of them break through to the 2nd level of the essence realm of heaven and earth, they will be able to compete with those freaks on the Heavenly King ranking. Jianfu Liu was moved. Although he was ranked 788th on the list of top 1,000 talents, there were many peak-tier kings who were more powerful than him. That was because the list of top 1,000 talents only listed those below 30 years old, while the list of heavenly kings had no age limit. The top 600 on the list of top 1,000 talents were almost all at the spiritual ocean tier and above. Only the last 10 heavenly kings had been able to rank in the top 600 with their king's realm cultivation. It was a terrifying feat. Therefore, there were nearly 200 heaven's favorites on the list of top 1,000 talents who were stronger than him. There were also many powerful older king tiers. Therefore, there were many peak-tier king tiers who were stronger than him. After all, the Eastern Barren territory was too big and there were too many peak-tier kings. I need to quickly upgrade my Earth will to the completion of level 1. Otherwise, I won't be able to exert much power. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. There was still a huge difference between the Earth concept and the other 3 concepts. Once the Earth concept was similar to the other 3 concepts, the power of the fusion of the 4 concepts would be terrifying. Lu Ming's combat strength would also increase by a notch. The giant snake puppet was very fast. After another 3 days they arrived at the Golden Light region, which was twice as fast as they had expected. After reaching the Golden Light region they continued to fly. After another 3 days they arrived at the Golden Sword sect. The Golden Sword sect was too majestic. It was more magnificent and powerful than any sect Lu Ming had ever seen. The Golden Sword sect was the #1 sect in the Golden Light region. Although it was a subsidiary sect of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, the Golden Sword sect's authority in the Golden Light region was as great as the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's. From this one could see its strength. Furthermore, the Golden Sword sect also had an inter-province transportation array that could transport one to other large regions. They were going to take the Gold Sword sect's interdomain teleportation array to head to the Heavenly King domain. Jianhu status in the Golden Sword sect was very high. He was the #1 genius of the Golden Sword sect. After returning, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were naturally treated with great hospitality. Brother Lu, Miss Xie, you might have to stay in the Golden Sword sect for 2 days. This time, the Golden Sword sect will be sending out a group of peak-tier kings to compete for the Heavenly King ranking. Jianhu brought Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing to an elegant courtyard and told them, "It's fine. Could it be that this time, all the peak-tier kings in the Eastern Barren territory will be gathered?" Lu Ming smiled. Gathering all the peak-tier kings is naturally a little exaggerated. However, most of the peak-tier kings with profound strength should be participating. Of course, this refers to humans. The demon race of the Sky Demon Valley will not participate. The Talisman sect will also not participate. Jianhu said. Why is the Talisman Amulet sect not participating? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He was somewhat curious. That's because the Heavenly King ranking only focuses on martial arts. The Tao of Inscription will not benefit you. Jianhu explained. Lu Ming nodded and had a rough idea of what was going on. It seemed like this Heavenly King ranking competition would be extremely intense. Chapter 724. 724 Gathering of Experts. 2 days later, the Gold Sword sect sent 29 peak-tier kings to the Heavenly King domain. Including Jianhu, there were 30 people. Among them, there were some who were very old and some who were in their 30s. The oldest were the 2 old kings who were close to 1,000 years old. Seeing that their time was almost up, they wanted to try their luck. If they were lucky, they might be able to break through to the Sea of Soul realm. That way their lifespans would increase by 1,000 years. Including Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing, there were a total of 32 people. They stepped onto the inter-province transportation portal and headed to the Heavenly King domain. The Heavenly King domain was a very special region in the Eastern Barren territory. It was because the Heavenly King domain was very small, only 1/10 of the size of the Tianshan domain. It was the smallest domain in the Eastern Barren territory, and it lacked resources. There were almost no powerful forces here. Moreover, it was located at the border between the Empyrean Heavenly Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect. Therefore, this was a no-man's land. Neither of the 2 overlord forces had occupied it. However, it didn't affect his reputation in the Eastern Barren territory. He was the Heavenly King tablet. The 2 pieces of the Heavenly King tablet were located in the Heavenly King domain. Every 3 years, the Heavenly King monument would open, and the Heavenly King ranking competition would be held there. Countless peak kings would gather there. More than a dozen big cities were built around the stele of Heavenly King. These big cities usually had almost no people, but once the Heavenly King monument was opened, they would be packed with people. So many people. Looking at the city in front of him, people were coming and going, flying here and there. Lu Ming was a little shocked. This was because any one of these people was a peak-tier king. All the peak-tier kings of the East Continent, except for the Sky Demon Valley and the Talisman Amulet sect, have come. This time there are at least hundreds of thousands of peak-tier kings. Jianhu said. Lu Ming sighed. Then everyone flew toward a big city. After flying into the city, the group landed on a street and looked for an inn to stay in. It was full. Everyone looked for 2 houses in a row and they were all full. It was only at the 3rd house that there was an empty room. Brother Lu, let's go out for a walk and find a place to have a few drinks. After the guest room was arranged, Jianhu went to look for Lu Ming. All right. Lu Ming nodded. He found Xian Yanqing and the 3 of them walked out. In the Gold Sword Sect's group, only the 3 of them were young. The others were the youngest, already over 30 years old. They did not have any common topics to talk about, and it was still the 3 of them who were closer. This small city was quite wide, but the streets were still full of people. There were fewer young people and more older ones. Each of them had a strong aura and were powerful. One look and one could tell they were experts. The 3 of them strolled around for a while and then walked into a restaurant. They ordered some food and wine, and as they ate, they listened to the conversations of the people around them to see if they could obtain some information. It's really too lively these 2 days. There are so many experts. With so many people fighting for the last 108 spots, the competition will be extremely fierce. This year will be even more brutal. In the past, the top 10 places were usually taken by young geniuses. The rest of the places were usually split equally between the young and the older generation. But this year is different. Many terrifying young geniuses have emerged and they are all extremely powerful. That's right. It's a well-known fact that even the Secret Chamber of Commerce hasn't rearranged the list of top 1,000 talents. It's just that too many geniuses have appeared. Otherwise, the list would have changed a long time ago. That's right. If the list of top 1,000 talents is rearranged, those at the bottom of the list, such as Gao Chong, Qin Qingshan, and Xing Xingchen, would have been kicked out of the list long ago. Around them, many people were drinking and chatting. Bang! All of a sudden, a young man slammed the table. His eyes were like lightning as he looked at another table and said coldly, "You're just a frog in a well. What do you know about the matters of the heavens' pride?" This young man was tall and burly, with strong muscles and a powerful aura. One look and one could tell that he was an expert. 3 young men in gray robes were sitting at another table. They were the ones who had said that the last few on the list of top 1,000 talents would be expelled. What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? One of the young men sneered. If you're not on the list of top 1,000 talents, how do you know how powerful they are? The tall and burly youth sneered. Oh, so you're a heaven's favorite on the list of top 1,000 talents? The gray-robed young man smiled faintly. I am Gao Chong. The burly young man said arrogantly. As soon as he said that, the other people in the restaurant were moved. Gao Chong was ranked last on the list of top 1,000 talents. However, no matter where he ranked, he was still a heaven's favorite on the list of top 1,000 talents. His strength and talent were absolutely amazing. Oh, so it's Gao Chong who's at the bottom of the list of top 1,000 talents. A beauty like you should have been eliminated long ago. The gray-robed young man was not surprised at all after hearing this. Instead, he revealed a faint mocking expression. In that case, you're very strong. I'd like to experience it. Gao Chong stood up, his eyes were cold, and the aura on his body became violent, like a fierce beast. You want to fight? Fine. Today, I'll let you know how useless you are. The gray-robed young man sneered and stood up as well, his body exuding a cold aura. Let's go out and fight. After Gao Chong finished speaking, he rushed out of the restaurant and flew into the sky. 2 senior brothers, wait for me to come back and continue drinking. The gray-robed youth laughed. He then rushed out of the restaurant and flew into the sky. The other people in the restaurant flew out one after another, watching the battle with interest. After all, one of them was on the list of top 1,000 talents. Even if he was ranked last, his combat strength was definitely not weak. Who was that gray-robed young man? With such strong self-confidence, it seemed that Gao Chong was nothing in his eyes. The other people in the surroundings also gathered around. That's Gao Chong. Someone recognized Gao Chong. In an instant, a large number of people gathered in all directions. Let's see what kind of ability you have to dare to speak such arrogant words. The aura on Gao Chang's body was getting more and more terrifying. He was like an immemorial vicious beast that was choosing people to eat. Boom. Boom. He took a step forward, and the space rumbled as terrifying energy wreaked havoc. Mad Beast Fist. Gao Chang threw out a punch and a beast's roar sounded, shaking the heaven and earth. Small tricks. The gray-robed young man sneered. Layers of black mist emanated from his body. The black mist twisted and turned, and a shrill ghostly wail was heard. The gray-robed young man grabbed out with his claw. In the void, a black river appeared, and within it, there was a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Bang! Gao Chang's fist and the gray-robed young man's claw collided. Suddenly, a terrifying force raged. Gao Chang's expression changed drastically. He stepped in the air and retreated continuously. The crowd was shocked. Gao Chang, a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents, was actually at a disadvantage after one move. How was this possible? Gao Chang seemed to be unable to bear this result. With a loud roar, a huge fierce beast appeared above his head. The name of this fierce beast was unknown, but its whole body was covered with scales. It was filled with a fiendish chi and looked extremely ferocious. 7 Esilavira chakras appeared around the fierce beast. Chapter 725. 725 Chapter 725 Old Acquaintance. What's the use of a bloodline eruption? The yellow spring claw. The gray-robed young man struck out with his claw again. A terrifying river wound around his arm, and the world was filled with ghostly wails and wolf howls. It was extremely terrifying. Gao Chang let out a furious roar and rushed forward. His energy was unrestrained, and the terrifying fist radiance caused the void to tremble continuously. Bang! Bang! A loud boom resounded, but after just a few moves, Gao Chang was forced to retreat. His entire body was covered in a layer of black mist, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Gao Chang was defeated. He was not a match at all. On the other hand, the other party seemed to be very relaxed. It was unknown how much strength he had used. It was obvious that the difference was too great. Who are you? Gao Chang roared unwillingly. Ghost 9 of the Heavenly Corpse Sect. The gray-robed young man replied indifferently. It's the genius of the Heavenly Corpse Sect, Jianghu. I've never heard of him. He must be a new genius. As expected, there are more and more geniuses nowadays. Many people in the surroundings sighed. So this is your strength. How disappointing. Trash like you should have been removed from the list of top 1,000 talents long ago. Ghost 9 sneered, then stepped out and returned to the restaurant. It's actually a genius from the Heavenly Corpse Sect. The cultivation technique of the Heavenly Corpse Sect is extremely strange. It's not something that ordinary people can resist. Lu Ming said. In the past, when he was in the Tianxian region, the people from the Heavenly Corpse Sect that he encountered all controlled refined corpses and fought with them, so their own combat strength was not strong. Later on, when he met Shui Gang in the chaotic astral ocean, he discovered that the members of the Heavenly Corpse Sect did not necessarily rely on corpse refinement alone. There were also some who did not rely on corpse refinement, but the martial arts they practiced and the intent domains they comprehended were all extremely strange and powerful. It was not without reason that the Heavenly Corpse Sect was able to rise up in such a short period of time and contend against the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. The speaker didn't mean it, but the listener took note of it. This sentence was heard by Gao Chang. His eyes turned cold as he took a step forward and walked towards Lu Ming. Kid, what did you say? Not something that ordinary people can resist? In that case, you're not an ordinary person. I'd like to experience it. Gao Chang had just been defeated by Ghost 9 and felt embarrassed. He was feeling extremely unhappy. He happened to hear Lu Ming say that the Sky Corpse Sect's cultivation technique was not something that ordinary people could resist. Did that mean that he, Gao Chang, was an ordinary person? He was powerful. As a heaven's favorite on the list of top 1,000 talents, he had always been proud and arrogant. But today he had been easily defeated by Jianghu, and then he was called an ordinary person by a kid who came out of nowhere. He was so angry that he couldn't control himself. He wanted to get back some face from Lu Ming. Lu Ming was speechless. He had only made an objective comment and he was targeted. Brother Gao, I'm not talking about you. Many people do have a headache when they encounter the strange cultivation technique of the Heavenly Corpse Sect. Lu Ming explained. Shut up. Who do you think you are? Are you even worthy of being my brother? Also, Do you mean that many geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents are no match for Guijiu, but you are? Gao Chang berated and asked Lu Ming. Lu Ming frowned. Was Gao Chang sick? Gao Chang, I advise you to get lost. Don't be so shameless. Jian Filiu shouted coldly and his face looked terrible. Their argument aroused the curiosity of the others and they all looked over. Who are these young people? It seems Gao Chang is going to get back his face from them. Don't kick an iron plate again. Someone sneered. How can it be that easy? Gao Chang is still very strong, how could he be so unlucky to kick an iron plate so easily? The people at the side were discussing and watching with interest. After being scolded by Jian Filiu, Gao Chang's face turned even colder. His eyes were like a ferocious beast as he looked at Jian Filiu and said, Brat, I'm going to cripple one of your arms today just because of your words. Boom. His powerful qi was violent as he punched at Jian Filiu. Jian Filiu's eyes turned cold. Golden light bloomed from his eyes. He put his fingers together like a sword and slashed out. A golden sword light flashed as if it could cut through everything. The powerful fist light was cut in half like tofu. The sword light did not stop and continued to cut towards Gao Chang's arm. Gao Chang's face turned pale with fright as he retreated frantically. At the same time, his bloodline burst out, causing his body to swell up rapidly and his aura to become even stronger. Slash. Jian Filiu's eyes turned golden and his body was as sharp as a sword. Whoosh. The golden sword light burst out and cut through the void in an instant. Then a shrill scream was heard. Everyone saw Gao Chang retreating madly, and one of his arms had already disappeared. Just now, Gao Chang said that he wanted to cripple one of Jian Filiu's arms. Now Jian Filiu had cut off his arm with one sword. Crushing, completely crushing. Who are you? Gao Chang roared madly. He circulated his Zhen Yuan and sealed his wound, preventing it from bleeding. His eyes were bloodshot. It was too tragic. One of his arms had been cut off, and his vitality was greatly damaged. It was destined that he would not be able to compete with the other geniuses. He was angry, he was unwilling. Jian Filiu. Jian Filiu reported his name. Jian Filiu, it's Jian Filiu. He's ranked 788th on the list of top 1,000 talents. He's a few hundred places higher than Gao Chang. The gap is huge. No wonder it's so one-sided. He actually met Jian Filiu. This Gao Chang is really unlucky. First, he met the genius of the Heavenly Corpse sect and now he has to face Jian Filiu. It's all because he's too arrogant. He thought that he was in his palm-sized place. What is this place? Powerhouses are gathering in the Heavenly King domain now. Isn't he looking for death by being so arrogant? That's true. Who are those two young men? To be able to stand next to Jian Filiu, I'm afraid he must have had a good start. Is he also a top talent on the list of top 1,000 talents? Even if he's not on the list of top 1,000 talents, he's still extraordinary. The crowd was in a heated discussion. Jian Filiu, fine, I admit defeat. Gao Chang bellowed like an injured wild beast. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he looked at Lu Ming. It was all his fault. If not for Lu Ming's words, he would not have found Lu Ming and offended Jian Filiu. It was all Lu Ming's fault. If not for Jian Filiu, he would have killed Lu Ming right then and there. Lu Ming. At this moment, a long howl was heard and a few beams of light flew over. The light dissipated and a few figures appeared. Qin Qingfei? Qin Qingshan? Lu Ming was taken aback. He did not expect to meet Qin Qingfei and Qin Qingshan here, and behind them was an old man. Lu Ming, I didn't expect to meet you here. Haha, it's time to settle our scores. Qin Qingfei sneered. The aura on his body was powerful. Clearly, after this period of time, Qin Qingfei's cultivation had also broken into the peak realm. With just a piece of trash like you? Lu Ming glanced at him and said in disdain. What did you just say? Don't think that you can be arrogant just because you have some strength. Let me tell you, there are many people who can suppress you. Let's see who can save you today. Qin Qingfei laughed coldly. Oh really? That's good, I'm also going to settle the score with you that day. Lu Ming stepped out, his gaze turning cold. Chapter 726. 726 as weak as a chick. Lu Ming could still clearly remember that back in the Hong domain, Qin Qingfei and Qin Qingshan had repeatedly targeted him. If it wasn't for Yan Kuangtu's appearance, he might not have been able to return to the Tianxian region and make it in time for Mulan's wedding with the sacred constellation. Originally, since this matter was already in the past, Lu Ming did not have the time to go to the Hong domain to find trouble with Qin Qingfei and the others. However, he did not expect that the two of them would take the initiative to jump in front of Lu Ming and make a fuss. Lu Ming naturally had to settle the score. Seeing Lu Ming step out, Qin Qingfei's expression changed drastically. He could not help but take a step back. Back then Lu Ming could compete with Qin Qingshan, but he was not. Lu Ming, I'm your opponent. Qin Qingshan took a step forward, his aura erupting as he stood face to face with Lu Ming. Lu Ming, we didn't have a clear winner in the battle back then. Let's see who's better today. Qin Qingshan's eyes revealed a strong desire to fight. It's really lively today. The people around them watched excitedly. At this moment, someone had recognized Qin Qingshan. Naturally, the interest of the surrounding people was high. Today, Gao Chang, the last heaven's favorite on the list of top 1,000 talents, Jian Filiu, and now Qin Qingshan, the other one, appeared. Qin Qingshan's ranking was one rank higher than Gao Chang's. Looks like I don't need to make a move. I want to see just how much this kid is worth, to dare to speak such arrogant words. Gao Chang sneered in his heart. Make your move. Use all your strength. I'll give you 2 chances. Lu Ming said indifferently. It was obvious that Lu Ming would only give him 2 chances to make a move. He would have no more chances to make a move after that. Self-confidence and arrogance. What big words. Qin Qingshan shouted coldly as the aura on his body exploded. This aura was extremely cold and seemed to be able to freeze everything. Many ice crystals appeared in the air and even the air itself was frozen. Qin Qingshan's body became transparent, and even his hair turned snow white. Qin Qingshan seemed to have turned into an ice man, his aura growing stronger and stronger. This was Qin Qingshan's bloodline secret skill. Facing Lu Ming, he did not dare to be careless. As soon as he made his move, he used his ultimate skill. Slash. Qin Qingshan shouted and slashed out a vast blade light. The blade light broke the sky and was extremely cold as it slashed toward Lu Ming's head. The aura he revealed was much stronger than Gao Chang's. Many people's pupils shrank. Qin Qingshan's combat strength was extremely strong. He had made great progress in the past few years. With his current combat strength, he might not only be ranked at the 999th place. Boom. Lu Ming stood still in the void. Just as the saber ray was about to land, Lu Ming threw a punch. A dazzling fist radiance pierced through the void and collided with the saber radiance. With a loud bang, the saber radiance was shattered. Not bad, you've improved a little, but is that all? It's too far off. Lu Ming said calmly, his tone calm as if he had just done something insignificant. Qin Qingshan's pupils contracted sharply. There was disbelief in his eyes. Lu Ming had actually broken through his attack so easily. How could he be so strong? Take another move. Qin Qingshan let out a long howl. His eyes turned snow white, and his true essence burst out crazily. The cold air around him kept shrinking. Whoosh! Qin Qingshan became one with his blade, turning into a blade of ice. It was as if there was only a blade light left in the world. So strong, quickly retreat. The surrounding people quickly retreated to avoid being hurt by the wanton cold blade light. However, Lu Ming still stood calmly in the air. When the saber ray approached him, he still threw a punch. When the fist light was released, the saber light was shattered. Qin Qingshan retreated in disbelief. Qin Qingshan, although you're much stronger than Gao Chang, you're still far from him. A faint voice came out of Lu Ming's mouth. Then, a vast spear light burst out from Lu Ming's hand and smashed toward Qin Qingshan. This spear's light was unstoppable. It had completely locked onto Qin Qingshan. Boom. It was as if Qin Qingshan had been hit by a divine mountain. He was blasted to the ground, creating a huge pit on the street below. If it wasn't for the experts below who acted in time to protect them, half of the city would have been razed to the ground. Qin Qingshan had been defeated. He had been defeated so thoroughly and so easily. Before he started, Lu Ming told him to show off his strength and that he only had 2 chances. Previously, some people thought that Lu Ming was too arrogant, but the facts proved that Lu Ming was telling the truth. Once he made a move, Qin Qingshan would not have the chance to make a move. Many people around them were guessing who Lu Ming was. He was so powerful that even Qin Qingshan, who was on the list of top 1,000 talents, was unable to fight back. There are too many new talents. Those who ranked below 900th in the last list are in danger. There's a high chance that they'll be squeezed out of the list, especially the last few. Not to mention the 900th place, even the 800th place might be squeezed out if they don't improve quickly. Many people in the surroundings were discussing in shock. Gao Chang looked at Lu Ming dumbfounded, his face pale. Earlier he actually wanted to teach Lu Ming a lesson. With his strength, was he not courting death? When he thought of this, his heart trembled. Perverts, they're all perverts. Gao Chang roared helplessly in his heart. He was too unlucky today. In his big domain, he was invincible among the younger generation, which made his self-confidence extremely inflated. He was even brooding over the fact that he was ranked last on the list of top 1,000 talents. He thought that with his talent he could at least be ranked in the top hundreds. But today reality had given him a heavy blow. Any random young man on the list of top 1,000 talents would be more powerful than him. At this moment he was dejected. Qin Qingfei, who was standing at the side, was also dumbfounded. In his mind, his big brother had always been powerful and invincible. However, he was as weak as a baby in Lu Ming's hands. How was this possible? 7 to 8 months ago, Lu Ming was still suppressed by his brother. How did he become so powerful now? Buzz. Suddenly, a figure moved and appeared in front of him. It was Lu Ming. Arg, what do you want? Qin Qingshan screamed in fear. It's very simple. I'll take one of your arms and we'll be even. Lu Ming said indifferently. Don't. Qin Qingfei shrieked and retreated rapidly. Don't hurt young Master Qingfei. The elder behind Qin Qingfei bellowed. His essential core burst out and a terrifying attack poured down on Lu Ming like a storm. This old man was also a peak-tier king, but his battle power was extremely strong. He was definitely an old man who had cultivated for more than 500 years. He had come to participate in the Heavenly King ranking battle. Get lost. Lu Ming did not even look at him. He kicked out and the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps exploded, instantly crushing all of the elder's attacks. The elder screamed in pain and his body flew far away, coughing up blood. The crowd was even more shocked. Lu Ming was too strong. That old man's combat strength was definitely not weaker than Qin Qingshan's. But in front of Lu Ming he was like a little chick without the ability to resist. The difference was too great. Slash. Lu Ming's fingers were like a sword, slashing out. A scream was heard and one of Qin Qingfei's arms flew out. Chapter 727. 727 The Wang Clan. Qin Qingfei let out a hysterical scream. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted coldly. Immediately, Qin Qingfei didn't dare to cry out. He endured the pain and left with Qin Qingshan. He came with an overbearing aura and left in a sorry state. Looking at the shocked gazes around him, Lu Ming was extremely calm. Defeating Qin Qingshan was not a big deal. In his heart, he had long since stopped treating Qin Qingshan as an opponent. The opponents in his heart were those king tiers who were ranked at the top of the list of top 1,000 talents, and even those 10 heavenly kings who had rushed into the top 600 with their king tier cultivation, and were on par with many Sea of Soul Realm Heaven's favorites. That was his true opponent. He turned around and strolled back. Brother Jian, let's go in and continue drinking. Lu Ming said, but Jian Filiu did not respond. He was slightly stunned and looked at Jian Filiu. Jian Filiu was looking in a direction with a blank look. Lu Ming followed Jian Filiu's gaze and saw a few figures. One of them was a tall young man in a red-scaled armor, and the other was a young woman who was extremely beautiful. Behind the two of them were 2 elders. Jian Filiu just fixed his eyes on the girl. However, the girl just lowered her head as if she dared not raise her head. Pa. The young man in the scale armor clapped his hands and strolled toward Lu Ming and the rest. He smiled and said, I didn't expect to meet such an expert here. Not bad, not bad. Isn't this brother Jian? Wang Meng. Jian Filiu looked at the young man and said in a low voice. Haha, Jian Filiu, what's the matter? You're also here to participate in the Heavenly King ranking battle? With your cultivation, be careful not to die here. The corners of Wang Meng's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a hint of mockery. You don't need to care if I'm alive or dead, do you? Brother Lu, let's go. Jian Filiu said as he turned around to leave. Haha, Jian Filiu, why don't you greet your junior sister apprentice? Wang Meng laughed heartily. His strong arms wrapped around the beautiful woman beside him. The woman's body trembled, but she didn't dare to resist. Jianfiliu's body trembled slightly and he clenched his fists. Haha, Jianfiliu, I told you that as long as I like your junior sister she will be mine. Now she has become my wife. Speaking of which, your junior sister's body and skin are really comfortable. Wang Meng laughed heartily. The woman's body trembled, but she lowered her head and didn't make a sound. Giggle. Jianfiliu clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were red and his teeth were clenched. What's wrong? If you want to hit me, then why aren't you attacking? You're really useless. Wang Meng shouted coldly. Jianfiliu's breathing became heavy. At the side, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's eyes turned cold and a powerful aura emanated from their bodies. Brother Lu, Wuxia, let's go, Jianfiliu said. His voice was hoarse and it seemed to be filled with endless anger. Lu Ming frowned. He felt that the situation seemed to be very complicated. He didn't understand the situation and it was indeed inconvenient for him to make a move. Jianfiliu took another look at the woman, then turned around and strode away. Let's go, Lu Ming said to Xian Yanqing, then turned to leave. You're really a piece of trash. Wang Meng's disdainful voice could be heard from behind. The three of them didn't return to the restaurant, but went straight to the inn. On the way, Jianfiliu didn't make a sound. His eyes were red and his fists were clenched. After returning to the inn, Jianfiliu opened his mouth. Brother Lu, Wuxia, aren't you curious why I didn't make a move just now? Jianfiliu said. Wang Meng. I remember that the person ranked 700th on the list of top 1,000 talents is called Wang Meng. Could it be him? Lu Ming said. Jianfiliu nodded and said, that's him. But I didn't do anything. It's not because he's ranked higher than me. It's because he's an ancient family. He's the direct descendant of the Wang family. Wang clan? The Wang family, one of the 6 great ancient families? Lu Ming frowned. That's right. Jianfiliu nodded and then sighed. The strength of the 6 great ancient clans is too terrifying. I'm not afraid, but I have to think for the Golden Sword sect. Furthermore, I have to think for my junior. Are the 6 great ancient families really that powerful? Lu Ming said. Of course it's powerful. Lu Ming, I think you should learn more. Don't you know some common knowledge? Xian Yanqing rolled his eyes at Lu Ming. Lu Ming touched his nose in embarrassment. Wuxia is right. The 6 great ancient aristocratic families have astonishing strength. Back then, when Martial Emperor De founded the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, there were a total of 9 great aristocratic families. They followed Martial Emperor De to conquer the world. These 9 great aristocratic families were called the 9 great ancient aristocratic families. Each ancient family has an amazing inheritance and talent. Later, each family was given a divine-level cultivation technique by Martial Emperor De as a family protection cultivation technique. Since then, the 9 ancient families have become more powerful. As time passed, 3 of them disappeared and there are only 6 left. These 6 ancient families can be said to be the most powerful forces in the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. They are all located in 9 dragons of the Sky Martial region. Their strength is not something that those sub-palaces in the major regions can compare with. The difference is too great. Jianfiliu explained. He actually has a god-grade cultivation technique? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. That's right. It's said that the ancient clans' deity-tier cultivation techniques complement their bloodlines, and their power is extremely terrifying. For example, my Golden Sword sect can be said to be extremely powerful in the Golden Light region. We can cover the sky with one hand and have peak-stage spirit embryo experts. However, compared to the ancient clans, we're still far too inferior. Every ancient clan has many powerful spiritual god realm existences. Jianfiliu sighed. Lu Ming nodded. That was indeed the case. An ancient family like that could annihilate the Golden Sword sect with just one spiritual god realm powerhouse. What's with that woman? Lu Ming asked curiously. Jianfiliu didn't answer. He seemed to be lost in thought. If Brother Jian doesn't want to answer, then forget it, Lu Ming said. AI? It's nothing much. That woman was originally my junior sister, and we were childhood sweethearts. Once when we went out to train we met Wang Meng. Wang Meng took a fancy to my junior sister at first sight, and later sent someone from the Wang family to the Golden Sword sect to propose marriage. The Wang family is a behemoth, so some of the elders in the Golden Sword sect were naturally willing to marry her. What's laughable is that my junior sister was also willing. After Jianfiliu finished, he laughed at himself. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's gazes flickered, but they did not say anything else. Jian Filiu's words were simple, but the two could roughly guess it. Lu Ming could not help but think of Lu Yao. Back then, didn't Lu Yao do the same? In order to climb up to a stronger power, she had abandoned him. Such things did not only happen to Lu Ming. In this world of martial arts where the strong preyed on the weak, such things happened everywhere. There's no need to be too afraid. When the battle for karmic luck begins, there are rules everywhere. When the younger generation fights, the older generation is usually not allowed to interfere. Even if we kill that Wang Mang, the elders of the Wang family are not allowed to interfere. Xian Yanqing's eyes turned cold. Chapter 728. 728 Raging Flame Burning Sky Art. That's right. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Brother Jian, you have to put it down. Lu Ming patted Jian Filiu's shoulder and did not say much. It was difficult for outsiders to help in this kind of matter. He had to face it himself. After that, they returned to their rooms. Now, there were only 20 days left before the start of the Heavenly King ranking battle. Lu Ming wanted to improve his ability as soon as possible within these 20 days. The geniuses of the 6 ancient families who cultivated God-tier cultivation techniques were definitely terrifying. Lu Ming himself had cultivated a divine-level cultivation technique, the True War Dragon technique. He was well aware of how terrifying a divine-level cultivation technique was. The True War Dragon technique allowed him to cultivate 10 times the essential core. It had always been the foundation of Lu Ming's powerful combat strength. In that case, even if it was a god-level technique, it would definitely be extremely terrifying. The battle for the Heavenly King ranking would definitely be extremely brutal. Lu Ming entered the Supreme Shrine and sat cross-legged in front of the Path Understanding ancient tree. He took out an Earth Intent crystal and started cultivating. After the 9 Suns Supreme had appeared and chatted with Lien Tsang, he returned to the Supreme Shrine and fell into a deep sleep. Kacha. He crushed the Earth Intent crystal, and intent tendrils spread all over Lu Ming's body. And NBSP, this intent crystal was a middle-grade Earth Intent crystal. In the blink of an eye, more than a day had passed. Lu Ming had advanced the Earth concept to the peak of level 1 lower tier. He was just one step away from breaking through to the upper tier. At this moment, Lu Ming felt a slight bottleneck. He had actually encountered a bottleneck at the first level minor accomplishment of the Earth concept. For the other concepts, Lu Ming had only encountered a bottleneck after he cultivated them to the limit of the first level in one go. The Earth Essence Realm was indeed a special essence realm. It was not something that the 9 common essences could compare to. Since he had reached a bottleneck, Lu Ming stopped cultivating and planned to take a walk outside. He opened the door and walked out, only to see a figure flash by and head outside. Brother Jian. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. That figure was Jian Filiu. It was already night time and Jian Filiu looked a little anxious. What happened? Lu Ming's expression changed and he followed her. Jian Filiu's figure was extremely fast. He was like a phantom as he went around a few streets and appeared in a quiet alley. Lu Ming inscribed an array to conceal his aura and followed behind Jian Filiu silently. Jian Filiu did not notice him. What? Lu Ming appeared on the roof of a house. He looked down and saw a lady in the alley. She was the junior sister apprentice of Jian Filiu. Why did you call me here? Jian Filiu looked at the woman in front of him and said in a cold voice. Senior brother, do you really hate me that much? The woman looked at Jian Filiu and smiled sadly. Hate you? How could this be? I can't force it. If I have to hate someone, I should hate myself. I hate myself for being born into a poor family and for having poor talent. No matter how hard I cultivate, I still can't compare to that Wang Mang. Jian Filiu laughed at himself. Senior brother, I was wrong. I was really wrong. At this time, the woman suddenly smiled sadly. Her delicate body trembled and tears fell. What's going on? Jian Filiu frowned. Senior brother, you have to save me. I want to leave that beast. Ever since I followed him, he has never treated me as a human. He has been abusing me every day. Senior brother, I beg you. I can only rely on you now. The woman walked to Jian Filiu's side, grabbed his arm and kept crying. She rolled up her sleeves and saw that her arms were covered with dense scars. Those scars were all from the whip. That beast tormented me every day, whipped me and left wounds on my body. He doesn't even allow me to use my energy to heal my injuries. I can't take it anymore. I want to leave him. Senior brother, I want to leave him. I shouldn't have agreed to it. I shouldn't have agreed. The woman continued to cry and her tears continued to flow. Beast, beast. Jianfiliu let out a beast-like roar. Not good. On the roof, Lu Ming's gaze suddenly shifted. Not far away, a few streaks of light were flying towards them at high speed. Swordsman, you dare to meet your old lover behind my back? You're looking for death. An angry roar reverberated in the world. The next moment, 3 figures landed in the alley. Wang Mang. The woman screamed and her face turned pale. Jianfiliu, how dare you touch my woman? You must die today. A cold killing intent flashed across Wang Mang's eyes. His body was covered in purple flames, and the temperature was terrifyingly high. The walls of the house and the floor under his feet were directly vaporized. The temperature was so high that it could even vaporize solid rocks. Sky-burning flames. Jianfiliu's pupils contracted sharply. The sky-burning flame technique was a god-level cultivation technique, the ultimate technique of the Wang family, one of the 6 great ancient families. Thump. Wang Mang stepped out and leaped towards Jianfiliu. A halberd formed from flames appeared in his hand and he slashed down at Jianfiliu. Buzz. Jianfiliu's eyes turned golden as a golden sword appeared in his hand. A golden sword light cut through the night as if it could split the dark sky. However, it couldn't split Wang Mang's halberd. Boom. The terrifying temperature burned everything. A deep pit appeared on the ground. It was vaporized by the flames. A stream of golden and purple chi shot up into the sky and into the clouds. Ta. Jianfiliu retreated quickly. His body glowed with golden light to resist the terrifying temperature. What's going on? There's a huge battle going on. What a terrifying commotion. Nearby, countless people were alarmed and flew over. Suddenly, figures appeared in all directions. That's the sky-burning flame technique. He's the Wang family's heaven's favorite. Wang Mang, it's Wang Mang. He's ranked 700th on the list of top 1,000 talents. The other person seems to be Jianfiliu. He's going up against Wang Mang. Some people recognized the two and were quite shocked. Jianfiliu, is this all you have? I'm so disappointed. Wang Mang's entire body glowed with purple flames, making him look like a fire god. The terrifying temperature spread in all directions, and even the air was burning. The place where Wang Mang stood became a vacuum. He took another step forward and the flaming halberd cut through the night sky towards Jianfiliu. The golden light on Jianfiliu's body was almost solid. It turned into a golden armor. He put it on and a golden sword light burst out again. But this time Jianfiliu retreated even further. The golden light on his body trembled as if it was going to collapse. Buzz. Buzz. The 2 old men who had come with Wang Mang appeared beside the woman. One of them grabbed the woman's shoulder. Senior brother. The woman shouted. Bitch, I'll let you see with your own eyes how I'll kill your old lover today. Wang Mang shouted coldly and took a step forward, charging towards Jianfiliu. Chapter 729. 729 Suppressing Wang Mang. Junior sister. Jianfiliu gritted his teeth and flew up to the sky. You can't escape. Wang Mang stepped forward with an imposing aura. The purple flames were too terrifying. Everywhere he passed, the space turned into a vacuum. The Wang family was an ancient family. Their bloodline talent was of the fire type, which was extremely shocking. This was especially true for the direct descendants of the Wang family. It was said that they could awaken a bloodline called the ultimate purple heavenly fire. This bloodline, when combined with a god-grade cultivation technique, the sky-burning inferno, could unleash a terrifying power. Lu Ming was not in a hurry to make a move. Jianfiliu had to face this matter himself. However, if Jianfiliu was in danger, he would not sit by and do nothing. Gold destruction slash. Jianfiliu growled. The dazzling golden light all over his body converged as if it was condensed into the sword in his hand. An extremely sharp feeling spread out from the sword. Immediately, a dark golden sword light slashed towards Wang Mang. A demigod-level martial technique. Wang Mang's pupils shrank as he let out a low roar. Immediately, the flames on his body rose sharply. Purple extreme break. The purple halberd gushed out, causing the space to rumble. A terrifying boom reverberated between heaven and earth. The dark golden sword light was shattered and Jianfiliu's body was thrown far away. He coughed up blood in the air. There were even purple flames on his body. They were burning fiercely as if they were going to burn Jianhu into ashes. You have a demigod-level martial technique? What a pity that you didn't cultivate it well. It's someone else's martial technique and not a bloodline martial technique. You want to stop me? Die. Wang Mang shouted as he strode forward and attacked Jianhu. What he used was his own bloodline martial technique. Although he wasn't at the demigod level, he was extremely close to it. With the combination of the god-level Raging Flame Sky-Burning technique and the extreme Purple Heavenly Fire bloodline, he defeated Jianhu's attack in one fell swoop. Jianhu's demigod-level martial technique was obtained from the underground world's holy mountain. He had only just started cultivating it, so it wasn't very powerful. Naturally, he wasn't Wang Mang's match. Jianhu has lost. Is he going to be killed by Wang Mang? The Wang clan is too powerful. Their bloodline is terrifying, and with the addition of a god-grade cultivation technique, who can defeat them? He was almost invincible in a battle of the same level. Jianhu was strong, but he couldn't escape defeat. That's right. All along, the top 10 heavenly kings on the heavenly king ranking were occupied by the 6 ancient families. The top spots on the heavenly king ranking were also occupied by the geniuses from the 6 ancient families. Let's not talk about the heavenly king list. Even the top of the list of top 1,000 talents are occupied by the 6 great ancient families. Only after the rise of the Heavenly Corpse sect did there be geniuses who could compete with the geniuses of the 6 great ancient families. In the midst of everyone's exclamations, Wang Mang's halberd had already slashed towards Jianhu. It seemed that Jianhu's defeat was already set in stone. Boom. At this moment, a vast fist radiance pierced through the void and headed toward Wang Mang. Who's there? You dare to sneak attack me? Wang Mang shouted angrily. He changed the direction of his halberd and swung it at the fist radiance. Boom. There was a loud explosion and Wang Mang's body moved slightly, taking 3 steps back. A slender figure stepped out and walked to Jianhu. It was Lu Ming. Brother Jian, are you all right? Lu Ming said. Brother Lu, I'm sorry to have embarrassed myself. This person is very strong. You have to be careful. Jianhu had already put out the fire on his body and was gasping for breath. It's fine. Lu Ming smiled and looked at Wang Mang, his eyes exuding a strong fighting spirit. God-grade cultivation technique, sky-burning flame technique. I'm going to have a taste of it today. It's you? Wang Mang recognized Lu Ming and sneered, Kid, don't think that you can fight me just because you defeated a piece of trash ranked at the bottom of the list of top 1,000 talents. If you want to experience the sky-burning flames, you better be prepared to be killed. With just you, I'm afraid you're not as mature as everyone. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Although the cultivation technique was powerful, it also depended on who was cultivating it. It was not said that one would be powerful and invincible after cultivating a god-grade cultivation technique. Take the true war dragon technique as an example. If someone else were to cultivate it, they might not be able to cultivate to the highest realm and possess 10 times the true energy. The power would be different depending on who cultivated it. Lu Ming's meaning was clear. Wang Mang had not mastered it yet. What big words! Wang Mang's eyes narrowed and a cold killing intent flashed in them. He took a step forward and continued to charge at Lu Ming. He swung his halberd, burning everything in his path. Lu Ming cast the explosive star fist and threw a punch. The fist ray contained 2 concepts of heaven and earth, thunder and fire. Boom. The fist radiance and the halberd collided, creating a violent boom. What a powerful force. It turns out that you've comprehended 2 wills. Unfortunately, it's only level 1 and you want to stop me? Kill. Wang Mang strode forward, his entire body seemingly turning into flames. It was as if a purple sun had appeared in the night sky. There were more and more people in the surroundings. At this time, thousands of people had gathered and were watching carefully. Most of the people were peak-tier kings who had come to participate in the battle of the Heavenly King list. He could use this opportunity to understand the combat strength of others and compare them with himself. Some of them were even the top 700 on the list of top 1,000 talents, and some of them were extremely powerful elders. The intent realm that Wang Mang had comprehended was the flame intent realm. It was obvious that he had already reached level 2. Oh really? Then add another one. The wind mentality also burst out. The 3 mentalities combined and exploded, pushing the power of the exploding star fist to the extreme. Boom. With a violent boom, a beam of light filled the sky, illuminating the entire city. Lu Ming did not move, but Wang Mang was retreating. 3 intents? Impossible. A look of disbelief flashed across Wang Mang's eyes. He had never thought that someone would be able to cultivate all 3 intents to such a level. Purple Extreme Break. Wang Mang's aura exploded as he performed his heaven-level upper-class bloodline martial technique. The purple flames seemed to be able to break through all obstacles. I've said it before, you're not up to standard. Lu Ming sneered, and the essential core in his body circulated wildly. Just now, Lu Ming did not use all his essential core. If he were to use it now, he would completely crush anyone of the same level with his true essence. The fist radiance of the exploding star fist was even more terrifying. Lu Ming threw dozens of punches in an instant. Each of his punches was like a shooting star flying toward Wang Mang. Boom. Boom. The sound of explosions continued. After a few dozen explosions, Wang Mang's figure retreated rapidly, blood spilling from his mouth. He was injured and was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. Damn it, attack and kill him. Wang Mang bellowed. As soon as he finished speaking, the 2 elders' figures flickered and they pounced on Lu Ming. These 2 elders were both peak-tier king tiers, but they had definitely lived for a very long time. Other than the fact that their heaven and earth intent realm hadn't broken through to the 2nd level yet, they were extremely terrifying in all other aspects. Their battle power wasn't much weaker than Wang Mang's. The 2 of them joined forces and suppressed Lu Ming. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He took a step forward and struck out 2 palms in a row. These 2 palms were ordinary, but they contained a terrifying force. The prison-suppressing heaven art. With 2 dull sounds, the 2 old men retreated quickly, blood spurting from their mouths. Chapter 730. 731 Person, 1 family. The surrounding onlookers were shocked. 2 powerful elders were spurting blood from Lu Ming's palm. Lu Ming's combat strength had once again shocked everyone. Lu Ming's long hair fluttered in the wind. He strolled forward and chased after the 2 elders. Kids, stop. Wang Mang's voice rang out. He stood behind Jian Filiu's junior sister, and a violent aura enveloped her. Brat, if you dare to attack again, do you believe that I won't kill her? Lu Ming furrowed his brows. He did not expect Wang Mang to be so despicable that he would use Feng Ting's life to threaten him. Feng Ting was the name of junior sister apprentice Jian Filiu. Seeing that Lu Ming had stopped, Wang Mang's expression turned sinister. Brat, destroy your own cultivation. Otherwise this bitch will die now. Ha ha ha. Wang Mang, if I'm not mistaken, this woman is your wife, right? Lu Ming laughed. You're threatening me with your wife's life? Did a dog eat your head? Also, the so-called disciples of the ancient families are like you? I've really opened my eyes. Lu Ming did not expect Wang Mang to be so shameless. He actually used his own wife to threaten Lu Ming. Lu Ming was speechless. Bang. Lu Ming continued to step forward with a threatening gaze. If you want to kill her, go ahead. I don't even know this woman. However, I'm afraid that you, Wang Mang, will have to bear the good name of killing your wife and threatening your enemy in the future. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming's palm struck out and suppressed everything. The elder brothers spat out large mouthfuls of blood and one of their arms exploded. Damn it. Retreat. Wang Mang grabbed Feng Ting and quickly retreated. The 2 elders also retreated quickly. Lu Ming didn't press on. He still had some concerns about Feng Ting's life. If Wang Mang really went crazy and killed Feng Ting, Jian Filiu would probably feel bad. Jian Filiu, you piece of trash. Do you only know how to hide behind others? Don't worry, when I return I'll keep an eye on this bitch. All of this is because of you. Wang Mang's angry voice could be heard. Senior brother. Feng Ting's face turned pale and her body trembled. Junior sister. Jian Filiu's eyes were red and he clenched his fists, but he was helpless. And you brat, just you wait. How dare you hurt my Wang family's people? I'll see how you die. Wang Mang immediately shouted at Lu Ming and left with his men. Lu Ming shook his head. After all, he was an outsider. Just now he had the ability to make Wang Mang stay, but so what if he stayed? The consequence would be that Feng Ting's end would be even more miserable, and even Jian Filiu would be implicated. He was not afraid, but he had to consider Jian Filiu and Feng Ting. Jian Filiu looked in the direction that Wang Mang had left in and was in a daze. Then his body started to tremble. Trash, I'm trash. Jian Fei and Lu Nannan muttered to themselves ears. Brother Jian. Lu Ming frowned. Jian Feiliu's condition was not right. Trash, Brother Lu, I'm a piece of trash. I can't even protect the woman I love and can only watch as she's bullied and humiliated. Tell me, do you think someone like me is worthy of being called a heaven's favorite? Do you still deserve to live in this world? Jian Feiliu's eyes were listless and he looked dispirited. It was as if he had lost all his fighting spirit. Lu Ming frowned. Jian Feiliu was in a dangerous state. His martial arts heart was on the verge of collapse. Boom. A powerful aura burst out from Lu Ming's body. A long spear appeared in his hand. The sharp spear radiance was aimed at Jian Feiliu's glabella. Jian Feilu sensed the terrifying killing intent. A golden light shone in his hand and a golden combat sword appeared. He blocked the spear radiance and retreated quickly. He looked at Lu Ming and said, Brother Lu, what is the meaning of this? What do you mean? I'll kill you. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Kill me? Why do you want to kill me? Jian Fei revealed an expression of disbelief. What's the use of a trash like you in this world? A small blow and you're already unable to recover? What's the point of cultivating martial arts? I might as well send you on your way. Lu Ming's aura was overbearing and his clear voice continued, the path of martial arts is full of thorns and difficulties. What we need to do is not to retreat but to move forward bravely. With our own strength we can destroy everything. If you want to save your junior sister, you have to become stronger, so strong that you can look down on everyone. Do you think a noble king would have the balls? Didn't the ancestors of the ancient families all start off as ordinary people? What does a mere Wang family count for? As long as I'm strong enough, I alone can be an ancient family. Lu Ming's voice was like a great bell, striking Jian Feiliu's heart and soul continuously, causing Jian Feiliu's body to tremble. Power, power, yes, as long as I have enough power I can save junior sister. As long as I have power I can destroy everything. Jian Feiliu murmured to himself. A trace of light slowly returned to his eyes. Then he closed his eyes. After a while he opened his eyes. There seemed to be two golden divine swords piercing the sky. A golden combat sword appeared above his head, as if it could break the sky. At this moment Jian Feiliu seemed to have realized something and transformed. Brother Lu, thank you very much for this. Jian Feiliu bowed to Lu Ming in gratitude. This time it was really too dangerous. His heart of martial arts almost collapsed. If his heart of martial arts collapsed, his cultivation would no longer be able to advance. He might even be invaded by his heart's devil and suffer from qi deviation. Lu Ming's words were like an epiphany that woke him up. It even caused him to undergo a transformation. He comprehended a martial art technique from his bloodline, an even more powerful bloodline martial art technique. He was extremely grateful to Lu Ming. Brother Jian, there's no need to be so polite. I'm just speaking from the bottom of my heart. Let's go. Then the two of them returned to the inn. However, the surrounding crowd was in a heated discussion. Who's that kid? What big words, you actually look down on the Wang family. Not only that, but he also said that he's from an ancient family. He's really arrogant and doesn't know his place. Just wait and see. The chosen of the Wang clan won't let him off. Wang Mang is only considered ordinary in the Wang clan. The sound of discussion spread and soon the news of the battle spread. The next morning Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Jian Feiliu, and the other 29 experts of the Metal Sword sect flew westward. The Heavenly King tablet was there. 100 miles away, a huge stone tablet rose into the sky. It was 1,000 meters tall and hundreds of meters wide. There were no words on one side of the stone tablet. It was completely blank and there were 27 stone steps below it. The stone staircase was very large and long. One could see that the top 7 steps were dark red, but there was no one on it. The 20 stone steps below were gray, the same color as the stone monument. There were many figures on these 20 steps. One by one they sat cross-legged on the steps as if they were cultivating. Moreover, the number of people decreased from the bottom to the top. The first step had the most people, and the higher it went, the fewer people there were. There was only one figure sitting cross-legged on the 19th step, and no one was on the 20th step. Chapter 731. 731 The Heavenly King's Tablet Stairs. These people are cultivating up there? Lu Ming asked. That's right. There are 2 pieces of the Heavenly King's steel. One is for assessment and the other is for cultivation. There are imprints left by ancient mighty people on the Heavenly King's steel. As long as you climb the stairs, you will be able to gain some insights. Some people can even use it to break through. Jian Fenglu introduced. Didn't they say that only by participating in the Battle of the Heavenly King ranking and obtaining the 108 spots can one step onto the Heavenly King's stone staircase and obtain the opportunities on it? Lu Ming was a little curious. You are talking about the top 7 dark red steps. Only the final 108 people can step onto those 7 dark red steps. That's because the effect is much stronger than the 20 steps below. Jian Feliu said. Oh, if you don't get a slot, what will happen? Lu Ming asked. There's no quota. If you step on it, you'll only die. There will be no exceptions. In fact, the next 20 steps are also very dangerous. It tests one's willpower, and it has nothing to do with the strength of one's heart of martial arts. If one's willpower is not strong enough and one's heart of martial arts is not strong enough, it's very likely that one will die on the top. Moreover, the higher you go, the more powerful and dangerous it will be. Of course, if you can withstand it and obtain rewards, the rewards will be equally great. Jian Feliu explained. Lu Ming nodded, his eyes filled with interest. The Heavenly King steel was only activated once every 3 years. During normal times there would be no effect on the steps. It would only be activated when the time was up. The effect of the stairs had started half a month ago, and some people had come here to cultivate half a month ago. During this period of time, there would be a large number of people coming every day. Buzz. At this moment, one of them couldn't take it anymore and was sent flying down the stairs. He fell to the ground and blood spurted out of his mouth. There were also people who stood up trembling and slowly retreated. They only let out a long breath when they were down the stairs, their bodies drenched in sweat. Sigh, I can only hold on for half an hour on the 7th step. The man sighed. He was a middle-aged man. It's already not bad that you can last for half an hour on the 7th step. I'm ashamed to say that I've lived for 800 years, but I can only last for 20 minutes on the 7th step. An old man sighed. Speaking of which, Jiang Taishu is really terrifying. The middle-aged man looked up at the figure sitting cross-legged on the 19th step. The figure was tall and straight. One look and one could tell it was a young man. What? Is that Jiang Taishu up there? Jian Feliu exclaimed. Lu Ming was shocked. Almost all of the top 600 on the list of top 1,000 talents of the Eastern Barren Territory were at the Sea of Souls realm, except for 10. These 10 were at the Martial King realm, but they were able to squeeze into the top 600 and compete with many other Sea of Souls realm warriors. It was easy to imagine how powerful they were. These 10 people were also in the top 10 of the Heavenly King ranking, known as the 10 Heavenly Kings. Jiang Taishu was one of them. He was the descendant of the Jiang family, one of the 6 great ancient aristocratic families. Now, the top 4 of the 10 Heavenly Kings have already reached the Sea of Souls realm and will not participate in this competition. The last one is a genius of the Talisman sect and will not participate in this competition either. This Jiang Taishu is ranked 6th among the 10 Heavenly Kings and is one of the most likely candidates to compete for the strongest Heavenly King in this Heavenly King ranking. That's right. He's too terrifying. He's already been on the 19th level for 3 days. Oh my god, this is too terrifying. He's just one step away from being comparable to the ancient heroes. Discussions could be heard from all around. Lu Ming's gaze pierced through the crowd and landed on the figure at the top. Buzz. Buzz. The sound of air being torn could be heard from time to time as more and more people arrived. Lu Ming saw Gao Chong, a few gray-robed young men from the Heavenly Corpse sect, and Qin Qingshan and Qin Qingfei. Qin Qingfei's eyes were filled with fear when he saw Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. A scorching aura descended as a group of people arrived, causing the crowd to hurriedly avoid them. He was from the Wang family, an ancient family. There were more than a dozen people from the Wang clan. It was obvious that this was not the entire Wang clan, but only a small portion. Wang Meng was one of them. You little bastard. The moment Wang Meng arrived, his cold eyes were fixed on Lu Ming and Jian Feliu. Wang Meng, the one you're talking about, is that kid. Beside Wang Meng there was a young man. This young man was very strange. His eyes were actually red like rubies. It was extremely demonic. That's right, it's that little bastard. Wang Meng pointed at Lu Ming. The red-eyed young man strode toward Lu Ming. The others along the way stepped back as the young man's body temperature was too hot. He's from the Wang family, an ancient family. That man's eyes are fiery red. He should be Wang Mie. List of top 1,000 talents, 635th Wang Mie. Soft discussions could be heard all around. Brother Lu, you have to be careful. This person is very strong, he warned. Jian Filiu reminded him in a low voice. The 635th place on the list of top 1,000 talents was almost the strongest group of king tiers. One had to know that in the top 600, other than the 10 heavenly kings, the others were all in the spiritual ocean tier. Brat, last night, you were the one who injured my Wang family's people and said arrogantly that my Wang family is nothing. Wang Mie walked up to Lu Ming and asked indifferently. His voice was calm, but there was a condescending look in it. So what if I am? Lu Ming replied calmly. Haha, so what if I am? You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. So what if you dare to say yes in front of me? I'm telling you the consequence is death. Wang Mie laughed out loud, his voice extremely cold. You can try. Lu Ming was still very calm. Since you're looking for death, I'll fulfill your wish. Boom. Purple flames rose from Wang Mie's body. The terrifying temperature instantly evaporated the air. The area within 3 meters of where he stood became a vacuum. Boom. At the same time, a powerful aura burst out from Lu Ming's body. He circulated his true energy and roared like a dragon. The three-colored will of heaven and earth surrounded his body. The moment their auras clashed, Lu Ming instantly felt a terrifying heat surge towards him. It was as if this heat could burn and destroy everything. Lu Ming's body could not help but take 3 steps back. Wang Mie was also pushed back 3 steps. This scene caused an uproar. Who is that young man? He's so terrifying that he's not at a disadvantage when clashing with Wang Mie's aura. Terrifying. He's indeed terrifying. I've never seen him before. He should be a new genius. There are too many geniuses in this year's Heavenly King ranking competition. It's going to be too difficult for us. Some of the older generation sighed. Although many of the older generation had cultivated for hundreds of years, even close to 1,000 years, and were terrifying in all aspects, they were unable to break through to the spirit ocean realm. Their talents were ultimately limited. Furthermore, the fact that he couldn't break through to the spirit ocean realm meant that the intent realm of heaven and earth was still stuck at the great circle of level 1 and hadn't reached level 2. Every time there was a competition for the Heavenly King ranking, the young geniuses always had the advantage. And this time there were even more geniuses. No wonder the older generation was in despair. Chapter 732. 732 Stepping on the Stairs. The great era is coming and there are many geniuses. This time, the Battle of the Heavenly King ranking is an early confrontation for some peerless geniuses in the Battle of Providence. It will be extremely fierce. We must be prepared. Some of the older generation sighed. Kid, you've got some skills. Let's see how strong you are. Wang Mie was forced to retreat by Lu Ming. He felt embarrassed. The killing intent in his eyes grew colder and the aura on his body grew stronger. If you want to fight, then fight. Lu Ming did not back down and his fighting spirit grew stronger. Suddenly, a vast and boundless aura spread down from the top of everyone's heads. An old man appeared in the air and said, "No fighting is allowed in front of the Heavenly King tablet. Anyone who violates this rule will be killed without mercy." His voice was so loud that it shocked everyone. This old man's aura was too terrifying, making it impossible for one to even think about resisting. He was definitely not an ordinary Sea of Soul realm expert. Perhaps he was a top expert of the spirit embryo realm. Every time the Heavenly King Steel was opened, the Empyrean Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect would send out experts to manage the steel together. It was obvious that this old man was the master in charge of the Heavenly King tablet. Lu Ming and Wang Mie quickly retracted their auras and disappeared. Kid, you've made it this time. However, you won't be so lucky when the battle for the Heavenly King list begins. Wang Mie's eyes flashed with killing intent. Oh really? I will see you at the Battle of the Heavenly King board. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Wang Mie coldly snorted and turned to leave. At this moment, on the steps of the Heavenly King monument, people were continuously being blasted down. I'm going to break through my limits and enter the spirit sea. With a loud roar, a white-haired old man on the 10th step took a step up to the 11th step. Bang. A large hole suddenly appeared in the old man's chest. With a scream, his body was blown down the stairs like a kite with a broken string. He fell to the ground and no longer had any breath. It's your old man. Sigh, his life is coming to an end. He wanted to give it a try, but he still died in the end. Someone recognized the old man and sighed. What can I do if I don't fight? Rather than dying from the exhaustion of his lifespan, it's better to take a risk. A similarly white-haired old man firmly said. The number of people on the stairs was getting smaller and smaller. At this moment, a new person went up. For example, Gao Chong, Qin Qingshan, Qin Qingfei, and the others. Bang, bang. There were about 100 people who stepped onto the first step. As soon as everyone stepped on it, some people's expressions changed drastically, and their bodies trembled, but they gritted their teeth and barely held on, while some people's expressions remained calm. For example, Gao Chong and Qin Qingshan had very calm expressions. Ah! With a shrill cry, Qin Qingfei was blasted down the first step and fell heavily to the ground. Haha, who is this person? He was blown down the first step. The surrounding crowd burst into laughter. Normally, those who came here were all peak-tier king tiers and could be considered experts. It was very rare for one to be blasted down from the first step. Their willpower was simply too weak. Damn it, how did this happen? Qin Qingfei's face was red with shame. Out of more than 100 people, he was the only one who had been blasted down the first step. As for the others, some of them sat cross-legged on the first step, while others continued to walk up. After that, at every step, there would be people who would stop and sit down cross-legged. There were also people who were thrown down the steps. Generally speaking, as long as one didn't force himself, there wouldn't be any danger to his life. At most, he would be injured. Only a small number of people kept going up. Gao Chang and Qin Qingshan, who were close to each other on the list of top 1,000 talents, seemed to be competing with each other. They didn't stop and kept moving up. Soon the two of them reached the 10th step. After climbing up the 10th step, the two of them stopped and looked up with a hint of fear in their eyes. But the next moment, the two of them continued to move upwards. Bang, bang. The moment Gao Chang stepped on it, it was as if he was struck by lightning. His body trembled and he spurted out a mouthful of blood. His body couldn't help but retreat back to the 10th step. He roared and stood firm on the 10th step. As for Qin Qingshan, he didn't retreat. Although his body was trembling, he still stood firmly on the 11th step. Gao Chang's eyes were filled with unwillingness. In the end, he was still no match for Qin Qingshan. After Qin Qingshan had stabilized himself on the 11th step, he took another step. On the 12th step. When he stood on the 12th step, his body trembled non-stop and his face was pale. After a long time, he slowly stabilized himself and sat cross-legged on the 12th step to cultivate. Let's go up too. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with curiosity. He stepped forward, followed by Xian Yanqing, Jian Filiu, and the others. In addition, Lu Ming also saw Wang Mie, Wang Mang, and the three gray-robed men from the Heavenly Corpse sect. They had all come forward together, and there were more than 100 of them. Bang. Lu Ming stepped onto the first step. The moment Lu Ming stepped on it, he felt a strong pressure on his body and even on his heart. Roar. At the same time, a huge, menacing demonic beast pounced on Lu Ming, its demonic aura enveloping him. Its bloody mouth bit at Lu Ming's neck as if it could snap it in half in the next moment. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. He stood still like a mountain, allowing the demonic beast to charge at him. When the demonic beast hit his body, it disappeared. An illusion, it was indeed an illusion. However, the cold and merciless killing intent and the violent fiendish chi were real. Moreover, the most terrifying thing about this illusion was that if one's will wasn't strong enough, the illusion would become real and deal a heavy blow. This was also why some people couldn't resist it and were seriously injured or even died. The demonic beast on the first step wasn't too strong, so very few people would be blasted down. Next, Lu Ming stepped onto the second step. The pressure on his body and soul grew stronger. At the same time, a ferocious demonic beast pounced at him. This demonic beast's eyes were cold and emotionless, and the killing intent it gave off was even stronger than the previous one. However, Lu Ming ignored it and allowed the demonic beast to charge past him. He continued to step forward, the third step, the fourth step. On the side, Xian Yanqing and Jian Filiu also stepped forward without stopping. On the other side, Wang Mang, Wang Mie, and the three gray-robed men from the Heavenly Corpse sect were also in the same state. Starting from the fourth step, the demonic beast's killing intent and demonic aura were stronger. It even carried the will of heaven and earth. This way, the pressure it gave people was even more terrifying. The further they went, the more demonic beasts there were, and the impact they gave people became more and more real. There were already many people who couldn't bear it. They either stopped or were blasted down. It's amazing. The essence realm of heaven and earth carried by these demonic beasts seems to be left by a top master. If I can capture them, I will definitely gain something and deepen my understanding of the essence realm of heaven and earth, or even break through. However, this place is still not strong enough. I need stronger pressure and a stronger will of heaven and earth. Perhaps it can help me break through the bottleneck and cultivate my will of heaven and earth to level 2. Lu Ming pondered in his heart, his eyes bright. Chapter 733. 733. My heart is not moved. The Heavenly King tablet was indeed a good place. Very soon Lu Ming arrived at the 10th step. Xian Yanqing and Jian Filiu had also reached the 10th step. However, only a few of the other 29 elders from the Metal Sword sect managed to reach this step. On the other side, Wang Mie, Wang Mang, and the 3 gray-robed men from the Heavenly Corpse sect had also reached the 10th step. Wang Mie and Wang Mang looked at Lu Ming and the rest provocatively. Then they stepped on the 11th step. Bang! Lu Ming did not stop and also stepped onto the 11th step. Whoosh! Whoosh! When he reached the 11th step, beams of light shot toward Lu Ming. These lights were of various colors and shapes. There were swords, sabers, fists, palms, hammers, and so on. These weapons of various colors exuded a cold killing intent as they flew towards Lu Ming. It was as if many experts were attacking him. Lu Ming stood still. These weapons struck Lu Ming's body one after another. The difference was that previously the demonic beasts disappeared as soon as they pounced on him. However, this time the weapons pierced through his body after hitting him. Holes appeared on his body, and the pain that seeped deep into his soul spread out. How did this happen? Lu Ming took a deep breath and looked in other directions. He saw that the others were not injured, but their eyes were filled with disbelief or solemnness. An illusion. It should still be an illusion, but this illusion was too real. It was just like many experts who were really attacking him and piercing his body. That kind of attack could even penetrate deep into his soul, causing him extreme pain. In such an environment, how many people would be able to hold on to their hearts, remain unmoved, and even move forward bravely? Once they retreated, these illusions could become real and cause serious injuries. It's powerful, but it's far from enough to defeat me. My heart is as firm as a rock. If I retreat in the face of such an attack, how can I face Martial Emperor Di in the future? Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he continued to walk forward. On the 12th step there were still many attacks. Each color represented a kind of heaven and earth intent realm. It was extremely profound and was definitely left behind by a top expert. Then the 13th step, the 14th step. At this point, the 29 experts from the Metal Sword sect had all stopped. On the 14th step, only Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Jian Filiu, Wang Mie, Wang Mang, and the 3 gray-robed young men from the Heavenly Corpse sect were still struggling. In addition, there were 2 white-haired elders. Below the stairs, countless people were watching. Amazing. They're indeed peerless geniuses. Who do you think is stronger? Which step do you think they'll reach? It's hard to say. The Heavenly King Monument tests a person's will, and heart of martial arts. It has little to do with battle strength, so it's usually hard to tell. Even so, it's not completely untraceable. Generally, the more talented and the more potential one has, the further one can go. For example, Jiang Taishu. So I think Wang Mie will go further in this group. He should have no problem reaching the 17th step. Yes, that's true. Also that Lu Ming was able to confront Wang Mie just now, which means he's also extraordinary. He should be able to step onto the 16th step. As for Jian Filiu, Wang Mang, the 3 people from the Heavenly Corpse sect, and that young woman, they can only step onto the 16th step at most. In fact, they might only be able to step onto the 15th step. Your speculation is quite possible. Below, the crowd was in a heated discussion, expressing their own opinions. In the midst of their discussion, Lu Ming and the rest took another step forward. On the 15th step. Whoosh! A ray of sword light, like a fairy from the heavens, went straight for the space between Lu Ming's eyebrows. The sharp killing intent made Lu Ming feel that he was going to lose his life here in the next moment. They knew that this was fake, but it felt too real. No matter who it was, they subconsciously wanted to resist, retreat, and resist. Come on. What do I have to fear even if I have to face mountains of daggers and seas of flames? Pucci. Lu Ming's glabella seemed to have been pierced through. A cold feeling spread through his entire body. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to have been killed. My heart won't move. Lu Ming murmured, his eyes determined as he looked upwards. Between heaven and earth, there seemed to be endless wills of heaven and earth. Every one of them was extremely mysterious. However, this was not what Lu Ming wanted. He wanted to go further. Boom. Boom. At this moment, on the 15th step, two old men let out a blood-curdling screech as they were blasted down the steps, blood spurting from their mouths. As for the three men in gray robes from the Heavenly Corpse sect, two of them trembled violently and were almost blasted off. However, they roared in the end and barely managed to withstand the impact. They were also breathing heavily and sweating profusely. The other person was Wang Mang. His body was also trembling and his face was pale. In addition, Jian Filiu's body also started to tremble slightly. Could it be that this is my limit? No, I can become stronger. I want to become a peak expert. I want to use my strength to protect the people I love. I want to save my junior sister. Jian Filiu roared in his heart and his eyes were filled with madness. Bang. Jian Filiu was the first one to step onto the 16th step. He was stepping forward for love. He must become stronger. Yesterday, Lu Ming had said that as long as one was strong enough, one person could be an ancient family. He was deeply touched by that kind of heroic spirit. He wanted to break through the limit. On the 16th step, Jian Filiu's body trembled violently. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth, but his eyes were still firm. Slowly, his body calmed down and he stood firmly on the 16th step. Jian Filiu actually reached the 16th step and stabilized himself. Amazing, truly amazing. That's right. Jian Filiu is ranked 788th on the list of top 1,000 talents. It's rare for him to reach the 16th step. Generally speaking, only a few people after the 700th place on the list of top 1,000 talents can reach the 16th step. Looking at the 16th step, many people were discussing in shock. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing smiled as they watched Jian Filiu step onto the 16th step. Jian Filiu had an obsession in his heart, so he would definitely become stronger. Impossible. Wang Mang's eyes widened in disbelief. It was already very difficult for him to reach the 15th step, but he didn't expect Jian Filiu to reach the 16th step. How can I lose to this trash? Wang Mang roared in anger and stepped forward. The next moment, his eyes were filled with fear. With a scream, his body flew far away and fell to the ground, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. Bang. On the other side, the remaining gray-robed young man from the Heavenly Corpse sect also stepped onto the 16th step. His eyes were filled with fear, but he didn't fall down in the end. Instead, he slowly calmed down and sat down cross-legged on the 16th step. Chapter 734. 734 Chapter 734 Humiliating Oneself. Wang Mie looked at Jian Filiu, snorted and stepped forward. Then Wang Mie's body trembled slightly and he stood firmly on the 16th step. Let's see how many steps you can reach. Wang Mie looked at Lu Ming coldly, his eyes full of provocation. Lu Ming smiled faintly and stepped forward. The 16th step was undoubtedly more terrifying. However, Lu Ming still stood firmly. Following closely behind him was Xian Yinqing. Xian Yinqing's eyes were extremely determined. Lu Ming seemed to see in Xian Yinqing's eyes that she was going to step on someone. It shouldn't be me. Lu Ming shook his head and smiled in his heart. Wang Mie's eyes turned cold when he saw that both Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing had reached the 16th step. The rest of the people below were surprised as well. They did not expect Xian Yinqing and Jian Filiu to be able to reach the 16th step. Brother Lu Monsieur, I can't keep going up with you, Jian Filiu said. Then he sat down cross-legged and started to cultivate. If you can't make it, you'd better not force yourself. Otherwise, it would be a joke if you die here before the Heavenly King ranking even starts. Wang Mie looked at Lu Ming and sneered. Oh really? This is what you told yourself, right? Lu Ming smiled faintly. You have a sharp tongue. I'd like to see if you can step on it. Wang Mie coldly snorted and stepped forward. Bang. Wang Mie's foot landed heavily on the 17th step. Instantly, his body shook violently as if he was under a terrifying pressure. But in the end it was still blocked by him. He stopped. Wang Mie, he really can reach the 17th step. It's said that the situation on the 17th step is completely different from the previous 16 steps. It's even more terrifying. The 17th step is a threshold. Only those who can reach the 17th step can be considered a top genius. When Wang Mie stepped onto the 17th step, many people were moved even though they had already expected it. Come on up. Lu Ming turned around and looked down at him with a smug expression. Heaven's Pride experts were also divided into different levels. He had reached the 17th step. In terms of determination and potential, he could already be ranked among the top Heaven's Pride experts. How could he not be proud? Bang. His proud expression didn't last long before it stiffened. Xian Yanqing took a step forward. He stepped on it steadily without even shaking. You're just a frog in a well. What's there to be proud of on the 17th step? Xian Yanqing glanced at Wang Mie with disdain. Below, many people were dumbfounded. Xian Yanqing's actions were completely beyond their expectations. They couldn't help but re-evaluate this beautiful woman. Xian Yanqing had been quiet all this while, but now they knew that they had underestimated him. You. Wang Mie's expression was extremely ugly. He looked at Lu Ming and said, "She's her, what about you?" Bang. As soon as Wang Mie finished speaking, Lu Ming stepped forward and stood firmly on the 17th step. Wang Mie's expression was completely stiff. The 17 steps are indeed different. Lu Ming's gaze looked up. In front of him, a figure as tall as the sky appeared. This figure exuded a terrifying pressure. This pressure was unparalleled, like the might of the heavens. Under this pressure, even one's soul would tremble, and one wouldn't be able to summon the slightest thought of resisting. Get down. The giant figure spat out these 3 words like a thunderbolt. It was supremely dignified and did not allow any resistance. At the same time, all kinds of light fell on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming could clearly feel that his body had been pierced through, and he was bleeding profusely. You don't have the right to make me get lost. Lu Ming's eyes were firm and bright. He faced the huge figure fearlessly. Damn it. Wang Mie let out a low roar. At that moment, 9 people on the 17th step opened their eyes and looked at Lu Ming and the other 2. These 9 people were the ones who had reached the 17th step before him. There were old men, but most of them were young people, all of whom were extremely powerful. Interesting, a few more Heaven's Chosen have arrived. Wang Mie seems to be at a disadvantage. Wang Mie should have to stop here. But who's that young man? I've never seen him before. It seems like he's a new genius. I wonder if he can make it to the 18th step. On the 17th step, a few young experts were discussing. It's not enough. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Without even looking at Wang Mie, he lifted his foot and continued to step forward. His determined footsteps landed on the 18th step. Lu Ming stepped on it steadily. At that moment, the 5 figures who had been sitting cross-legged on the 18th step opened their eyes at the same time and looked at Lu Ming. Impossible. Wang Mie shouted. The rest of the people at the scene looked at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming had actually reached the 18th step. It was too shocking and beyond everyone's expectations. There were only 5 people sitting cross-legged on the 18th step. They were all famous geniuses. Although they weren't among the last 10 heavenly kings, they were close to that level. Each of them was ranked above Wang Mie on the list of top 1,000 talents. Now there was one more person. Above them, on the 19th step, there was only one person, and that was Jiang Taishu. The key was this Lu Ming's limit? Could he go one step further and reach the 19th step to be on the same level as Jiang Taishu? He was curious, extremely curious. However, an even more shocking scene appeared. Xian Yanqing also raised his foot and stepped onto the 18th step. Do you want to come up and try? This time, Lu Ming turned his head and looked down at Wang Mie. Damn it. Wang Mie's eyes were extremely gloomy. His body was emitting hot flames like a god of fire. If you can't make it, don't force yourself. The Heavenly King ranking hasn't started yet. If you die here, you'll be a joke. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Wang Mie almost vomited blood in anger. This was what he had said to Lu Ming just now. Now, Lu Ming returned it to him in its original form. I don't believe it. Wang Mie's eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness. He let out a low roar and stepped onto the 18th step. Instantly, his body trembled violently, and his eyes were filled with fear. He screamed and spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was directly sent flying, following in Wang Mang's footsteps. The 17th step was already Wang Mie's limit. If he had barely managed to climb up, this would have been the only result. It was already a good thing that he didn't die. The crowd only glanced at Wang Mie casually and then looked at the two figures on the 18th step. Could they still continue to go up? Everyone was extremely curious. However, to his disappointment, Lu Ming sat down cross-legged. Xian Yinxing pondered for a moment, then sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. Chapter 735. 735 Second Level Intent Realm. Many people heaved a sigh of relief, and then a discussion broke out. It seems that the two of them can only reach the 18th step. They've already reached their limits. It's already very shocking. Although the higher they go, it doesn't mean that their combat power is stronger, but at least it shows that these two people's willpower and martial heart are extremely tough and terrifying. They have endless potential. That's right. If they break through to the spiritual ocean tier, they will easily enter the top 500 on the list of top 1,000 talents. I wonder how long they can stay on the 18th step. Many people nodded and were somewhat amazed. These were two newly risen heavens favorites. During this period of time, there had been quite a number of new rising heavens favorites. On the 18th step, the other five closed their eyes and began to cultivate when they saw Lu Ming and Lin Feng sitting cross-legged. Jiang Taishu, who was on the 19th step, did not open his eyes from the beginning to the end. It seemed that nothing below the 19th step could arouse his interest. Lu Ming did not continue to advance not because he could not, but because he felt that he should be able to cultivate on the 18th step. He sat cross-legged and above him the huge figure was still berating him, telling him to roll down. At the same time, countless rays of light of various colors shot towards him. It's not good to bear this kind of pressure and pain all the time. Lu Ming smiled faintly. However, this could also be considered a form of training. At the same time, the various colored attacks contained all sorts of heaven and earth intent realms. They were left behind by peerless powerhouses in ancient times. This was an unparalleled wealth. Those with high talent could comprehend the intent realm of heaven and earth from it, and even comprehend unparalleled combat skills. Only Martial King realm martial artists could enter the Heaven King list, and only then would it be effective. If it was someone in the Sea of Soul realm or even higher, it would have no effect at all. Lu Ming closed his eyes, his mind wandering. What? He raised his eyebrows. He had just caught a flash of lightning. This thunder domain is compatible with me. I have to capture it. Lu Ming sensed it carefully. After a while he sensed the wisp of thunder concept again. Buzz. At this moment his thunder mentality turned into a rope and flew out at an extreme speed, wrapping around the thunder mentality. Boom. At this moment Lu Ming's mind was buzzing. The environment seemed to have changed. Lu Ming realized that he had appeared in a void. In the void there was a figure jumping around, performing the concept of thunder. What a wonderful thunder mentality. So, the thunder mentality can be used like this? Lu Ming was mesmerized with just one look, his eyes fixed on it. He realized that his comprehension of the thunder concept was constantly improving. Just like that, time slowly passed. Lu Ming seemed to have forgotten about the attack, pressure and pain outside. He focused on comprehending the concept of thunder. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. Buzz. Suddenly, in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness, there was only one thunder concept rune. All of a sudden, a new thunder concept rune spread out. This newly born thunder concept rune was only an inch long, much shorter than the previous one. The moment it appeared, it intertwined with the first one and complemented each other. Level 2 concept. Lu Ming's thunder concept had successfully broken through to level 2. He had finally broken through the bottleneck and entered level 2. However, this was still far from enough. Lu Ming still had 3 intents that needed to reach the second level. Otherwise, his cultivation would not be able to break through to the spirit ocean realm. Lu Ming immediately continued cultivating. This time he did not continue to comprehend the thunder mentality. Instead, he began to capture other concepts. Not long after, he successfully captured the concept of wind and started to comprehend it. Time passed by slowly. There were more and more people on the Heavenly King steel. Some people climbed up the steps, while others couldn't hold on and were blasted down. There were many people coming and going. During this period of time, many more geniuses had appeared. A few more people had appeared on the 17th and 18th steps. However, Jiang Taishu was the only one on the 19th step. The few heaven's favorites who were as famous as Jiang Taishu were not here. They might be cultivating somewhere else. In the blink of an eye, another 6 days had passed. It was the 13th day since Lu Ming stepped onto the Heavenly King's tablet. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes. Now, my wind and thunder intents have both reached level 2. I should upgrade my earth intent to level 1 completion or even level 2. Only then will my prison suppressing heaven technique be stronger. Lu Ming looked up. He had to climb the higher steps. He had tried earlier but he did not capture a suitable earth concept on the 18th step. He could only go up. The next moment Lu Ming stood up. Below, many people looked at him curiously. That Lu Ming has gotten up. He has been up there for 13 days. I reckon he can't take it anymore and has retreated. He stayed on the 18th step for 13 days. That's already terrifying enough. What's even more shocking is Jiang Taishu. He has been stuck on the 19th step for so long. Jiang Taishu might be aiming for the first place on the Heavenly King list this time. However, the next moment, everyone's discussion came to an abrupt end. Everyone's eyes widened in shock. This was because they realized that Lu Ming was not going to retreat. He was actually going up. Bang. Lu Ming stepped onto the 19th step with determination and stood firmly on it. At this moment, everyone's mouth was wide open as they gasped. Lu Ming had actually stood still and successfully ascended the 19th step, standing at the same level as Jiang Taishu. Jiang Taishu, who had been sitting cross-legged on the 19th step without any movement, suddenly opened his eyes. 2 sharp lights flashed in his eyes. A trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. He didn't seem to expect that the person who climbed the 19th step would be a young man from Mo Shang. It was a young man he didn't know. However, what was even more shocking was that after Lu Ming reached the 19th step, he did not seem to have any intention of stopping. He looked at the 20th step. Heavens, is he going to reach the 20th step? It can't be. That's the 20th step. Not many people have ever made it. Only the top 20 on the list of top 1,000 talents made it when they were at the Martial King realm, and the previous number 1 on the Heavenly King list made it to the 20th step. No one else has made it. Can he really do it? Even Jiang Taishu can't get there. Many people were discussing in shock. At this moment, the glint in Jiang Taishu's eyes grew even more intense. He stood up and spoke into Lu Ming's ears. You want to climb the 20th step? Jiang Taishu had transmitted his voice to the others so they could not hear him. Not bad. Lu Ming said. I advise you to stay on the 19th step. Jiang Taishu continued to send messages. What do you mean? Lu Ming said. What do you mean? Jiang Taishu's eyes glowed even more sharply. This time, no one has managed to reach the 20th step. If you do, what will the other geniuses do? Chapter 736. 736 Four Geniuses. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled up into a smile. It was a mocking smile. He finally knew what Jiang Taishu meant. Jiang Taishu's meaning was clear. He was already on the 19th step. If Lu Ming were to step onto the 20th step, where would he put his face? He couldn't step on it himself, yet he wanted to be high and mighty, taking the lead and not let others step on it. What a joke. Why would Lu Ming bother with such a person? If you have the ability, then come up. Lu Ming sneered and ignored Jiang Taishu. He turned around and took a step forward without hesitation. Boom. When Lu Ming stepped onto the 2nd step, he felt as if the entire world was pressing down on him. His body could not help but stagger and tremble slightly as if he would fall down at any time. In the sky in front of him, Lu Ming saw a figure as high as the sky looking down at him. The pressure was even more terrifying and powerful. Get down. The rumbling voice kept rushing into Lu Ming's mind and soul. Endless rays of light of various colors shot towards Lu Ming and struck his body. Lu Ming seemed to be experiencing 1,000 cuts. One could clearly see his flesh and blood being separated. Of course, this was only his own feeling. What others saw was only his body trembling slightly. He stepped on it, he stepped on it. His body is trembling slightly. It seems to be very difficult. If he can hold his ground, he'll be comparable to the top 20 on the list of top 1,000 talents. The 20th step. This kid's future is limitless. Below, countless people widened their eyes. They looked up at Lu Ming in shock and nervousness. No one can make me roll down. On the 20th step, Lu Ming growled. His eyes were filled with determination and persistence. He wanted to break through all obstacles. He wanted to reach the peak and surpass Martial Emperor D. In front of his eyes, a figure seemed to have appeared. It was indomitable, crossing the universe with an unparalleled aura. It was even larger and more majestic than the figure that had told him to roll down. That was the Martial Emperor D he had imagined. He had even surpassed Martial Emperor DE, so why would he be afraid of this figure? His posture slowly stabilized and his body stood straight. He stood firmly on the 20th step. The dark red stairs were up there. Only those who had participated in the Battle of the Heavenly King list and obtained the top 108 spots could step onto the dark red steps. Only those who had the protection of the Monument Chi could step onto it. Otherwise, only death awaited them. There had never been an exception. A cold glint flashed across Jiang Taishu's eyes as he looked at Lu Ming, who was standing on the 20th step. His body glowed with a sharp light. He looked at the 20th step with hesitation in his eyes, but he did not step on it. At this moment, the people on the other steps opened their eyes and looked up at Lu Ming in shock. Amazing, truly amazing. Another top-tier heaven's favorite. Many geniuses sighed. Brother Lu, you are indeed much stronger than me. Jian Filiu sighed. Qin Qingshan and Gao Chang were also sighing. Qin Qingshan had been easily defeated by Lu Ming a few days ago. At first he was still indignant, but now he was convinced. As for Gao Chang, he was extremely glad. Back then he wanted to teach Lu Ming a lesson. Now he was blushing as he imagined it. Impossible. In the crowd below, Wang Mie, Wang Mang, and the others roared in disbelief. This brat, I want him dead. Wang Mang's eyes were filled with killing intent. Don't worry, the higher one climbs on the Heavenly King steel steps, the stronger one's combat power is. In the Heavenly King ranking battle, kill him. Wang Mie's eyes flashed with cold light. At this moment, Xian Yanqing, who had been sitting on the 18th step, suddenly stood up and walked up to the 19th step. He stepped onto the 19th step steadily and stood at the same level as Jiang Taishu. Before anyone could react, Xian Yanqing took another step. With this step, she reached the 20th step. Her body trembled slightly, but her eyes were extremely determined. Another person had reached the 20th step. Moreover, it was Lu Ming's female companion. Almost everyone treated her as Lu Ming's girlfriend. A pair of Golden Boy and Jade Girl had both stepped onto the 20th step. Everyone was stunned, thinking that they were dreaming. This was too unbelievable. This time, after the opening of the Heavenly King tablet, he had yet to step onto the 20th step? Now there were two of them. Jiang Taishu's eyes turned even colder. Ah, it's really lively today. Let me join in the fun. A loud laugh was heard. Everyone looked over and saw a fat man with a waist as thick as a water tank. He wore a loose white robe and his face was chubby with a hint of red. He was carrying an axe on his shoulder. The handle of the axe was 2 meters long, and the body of the axe was huge like a door. In his other hand he was holding a greasy lamb leg and gnawing on it. As he gnawed, he descended and stepped on the steps of the Heavenly King tablet. Buzz. At this time, on the other side, a rainbow light flashed and a tall figure landed under the Heavenly King tablet. This young man was wearing a gray robe and looked very ordinary. He was the kind of person who would be easily found in a sea of people. He descended and strode up the stairs. The fatty and the ordinary-looking young man climbed up the stairs very quickly. They reached the 11th step in no time, but they did not stop. They continued to climb up step by step. 17 steps, 18 steps, 19 steps. Everyone was dumbfounded. Where did these two geniuses come from? They were too terrifying. They had climbed up the 19th step in one go and were now on the same level as Jiang Taishu. Nest, this place is really uncomfortable. It hurts so much. No, I need to eat more meat to nourish myself. The fat man shouted and gnawed on the leg of lamb in his hand. Then, under everyone's gaze, he stepped onto the 20th step. The ordinary-looking young man also stepped onto the 20th step. Shocking, shocking. Countless people were dumbfounded. What was going on today? Usually, very few people could reach the top, but now, so many people had appeared at once. 4 people, a total of 4 people had reached the 20th step. Most importantly, these 4 people were unfamiliar faces and were not on the list of top 1,000 talents. I can't take it anymore. I want to eat meat to nourish myself. It's too painful. The fat man shouted as he gnawed on the lamb leg. He was actually standing firmly on the 20th step. Lu Ming looked at it and was somewhat speechless. The others were also speechless. Some people were even more indignant. Even this fatty could climb up. It was too unfair. That young man seems to be the rising genius of the Heavenly Corpse sect. His name is Corpse King. At this moment, someone recognized the ordinary-looking young man. Chapter 737. 737 Chapter 737 Immemorial Divine Weapon Art. Corpse King, what a strange name. It's said that this man has already cultivated the Heavenly Corpse sect's God-grade cultivation technique, the 9 Netherworld Corpse transformation art, to an extremely powerful realm. His combat strength is extremely terrifying. The 9 Serenities Corpse transformation art can turn one's body into a divine corpse. One's entire body will be impervious to blades, spears, water, and fire. There's nothing that can't be destroyed. It's terrifying to the extreme. This is a terrifying opponent. Many people were talking about it. Some of the warriors who were going to participate in the Battle of the Heavenly Kings list secretly noted down the Corpse King so that they could be more careful when they met him in the future. At this moment, Jiang Taishu's expression was extremely ugly. He glanced at the 4 people on the 20th step and his killing intent flashed. Then he turned around, walked down the steps and left. Beautiful lady, how may I address you? I'm free, advance. Fatty took a few bites of the leg of lamb before turning his small eyes to Xian Yanqing. Get lost. Xian Yanqing's answer was only one word. Beauty, why are you so fierce? Didn't he just want to exchange some pointers? Don't tell me you're already taken? Am I late again? Brother, are you really you? The fatty sighed and then looked at Lu Ming. What's wrong? Do you want to fight me? Lu Ming said. Duel? What duel? I have my principles when it comes to picking up girls. First, I don't pick up girls who are already taken. I won't fight with others for someone who's already taken. How tiring would that be? Pretty lady, do you have any brothers or sisters? No sisters? Introduce one to me. Fatty turned to Xian Yanqing as he munched on the leg of lamb. Get lost. Xian Yanqing uttered another word. Look at you, can't you speak properly? Brother, does your wife have a sister? Can you introduce one to her? Kong Jin looked at Lu Ming again. Lu Ming was speechless. This fatty was really a weirdo. Did he come online to find someone to introduce a girlfriend to him? Xian Yanjuan's figure appeared in Lu Ming's mind. He said subconsciously, she really does have an older sister who looks quite like her. What? Really? Brother, you have to help me. I've already decided I'm going to conquer this beautiful sister. Fatty's eyes were shining, and then he took another bite of the lamb leg. Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing's eyes were fierce as he squeezed out 2 words. I'm going to start my cultivation. Lu Ming quickly sat cross-legged and closed his eyes, ignoring the outside world. Xian Yanqing gritted his teeth and sat down cross-legged. The fat man gnawed on the leg of lamb with a swish. Then he carried the axe, sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. The Corpse King also began to cultivate. Soon, Lu Ming caught a trace of the Earth concept's trajectory and began to comprehend it. His comprehension of the Earth essence realm had improved by leaps and bounds. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days had passed. Lu Ming had finally cultivated the Earth concept to the full circle of level 1. Now there were 4 concepts. The Earth and Fire concepts were both at the completion of level 1, while the Wind and Thunder concepts had both reached the beginning of level 2. Lu Ming's combat strength had increased tremendously compared to when he had first arrived. At this time, the battle for the Heavenly King ranking had officially begun. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing and everyone else who was cultivating on the Heavenly King's tablet descended the steps and headed north. There was a huge square dozens of miles away. The square was paved with a kind of black stone with complicated inscriptions on it. There were more than 100,000 peak-tier kings gathered around the square. The fat man followed Lu Ming like a shadow, mumbling non-stop that he wanted to introduce Xian Yanqing's sister to him. Lu Ming was extremely regretful now. He regretted the words that he had blurted out previously. Boom. Boom. A terrifying pressure came from the sky and 6 figures appeared. These 6 people were definitely extremely powerful experts. It was very likely that they were all in the spirit embryo realm. 3 people from the Empyrean Heavenly Divine Palace and 3 people from the Heavenly Corpse sect. Both sides would send experts to preside over the battle for the Heavenly King ranking. Venerable 3 corpses, let's begin. Do you want to announce it or should I? In the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, a middle-aged man with a jade crown on his head looked at the man in the middle of the three people from the Heavenly Corpse sect. He Dongfang, how you'll do it? Venerable Three Corpses chuckled and said no more. Dongfang Hao nodded and looked around. The Battle of the Heavenly Kings ranking requires 2 rounds of preliminaries to select the strongest group of people to qualify for the final battle. The first round of preliminaries will be held in this square. With that, Dongfang Hao waved his hands and runes entered the ground. The runes glowed and the next moment shields appeared in the square. The shields were arranged in rows. In each row, there were 36 shields in front of and behind them, making a total of 18 rows. You should have seen that there are 36 shields in each row. Go up the stage and hit these shields. Only those who can break through 9 shields will pass and enter the next round. Now let's begin. Dongfang Hao announced. I'll do it. I'll join you too. Immediately, 18 people stepped onto the square. There were a total of 18 rows and 18 people could take the test at the same time. Boom. Boom. True chi circulated and all kinds of wills bloomed. The 18 people attacked one after another. Those shields were shattered piece by piece. Break. Lu Ming saw a burly man punching out with both his fists continuously. Beams of scorching fist radiance were blasted out and the shield was constantly broken. However, the moment the shield was broken, it seemed to produce a powerful force that retaliated against his body. The further back they went, the harder it seemed to break the shield, and the stronger the power of the counterattack. Bang. Bang. The brawny man kept retreating. In the end, he roared and punched with all his might, shattering the shield of the 9th fastest man. But at the same time his body was also pushed back and he spat out a mouthful of blood. 9 pieces pass. You 6 pieces fail, eliminated. Dongfang Hao announced. Out of the 18 people who went up, only 6 of them managed to shatter 9 pieces. Those who passed only had a success rate of 1/3. The tallest one had broken 11 shields. Next group. Dongfang Hao announced. Immediately, another 18 people flew up, and the broken shields were reformed. That's Jiang Taishu. Jiang Taishu is going up. Among the 18 people, one person attracted everyone's attention. Jiang Taishu was a genius from the Jiang family, one of the 6 great ancient aristocratic families. He was ranked 6th in the last generation of the 10 heavenly kings. Now, the top 4 of the 10 heavenly kings had all entered the Sea of Soul realm. Jiang Taishu was the most likely candidate to compete for the strongest king this time. Jiang Taishu stood still like a mountain. A terrifying sharpness emanated from his body, as if it could cut through everything. The Jiang family, one of the 6 ancient families, cultivated the immemorial divine weapon technique, which was a god-level cultivation technique that could cultivate one's body into a divine weapon. Their body was a divine weapon that could break and destroy everything, somewhat similar to the 9 Nether's corpse transformation technique of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Chapter 738. 738 The second piece of the Heavenly King Tablet. Break. Jiang Taishu murmured. His palm was like a sword and he slashed forward. Boom. Boom. In an instant 9 shields exploded, but that was not all. The 10th, 11th and 12th shields exploded. In the blink of an eye, 18 shields exploded. Break again. Jiang Taishu shouted, and the sharpness in his eyes grew. He struck out with his palm again. This time, everyone seemed to see a saber slashing forward. Bang. Bang. One shield after another exploded. The strong wind and chi were counterattacked, but Jiang Taishu's figure remained unmoved. He continued to attack, shattering everything. In the end, a total of 28 shields were broken. Jiang Taishu had broken 28 of the 36 pieces, which was an amazing achievement. In the king's realm, no one had ever been able to break all 36 shields. Apart from Jiang Taishu, the strongest among the 18 people in this round had only broken 12 shields. The gap was too great. Following that, 18 people in a round, 18 people in a round, people continued to go up. However, the success rate was only about 1/3. Many people who had failed shook their heads and sighed. They had no fate with the Heavenly King ranking competition this time. Lu Ming saw that Gao Chang, the last-ranked genius on the list of top 1,000 talents, had lost an arm and his combat strength had been weakened. In the end, he had only broken 12 shields. Qin Qingshan had shattered 16 pieces. Wang Mang had shattered 20 pieces. Wuxia was very strong. He had broken 24 pieces, only 4 pieces away from Jianghu. However, the further one advanced, the tougher the shield became. It was too difficult to break it. Even a single piece was a huge difference. A day later, more than half of the 100,000 people had been turned. Among them, there were a few shocking powerhouses that attracted Lu Ming's attention. Those people had broken 28 shields just like Jianghu. From the others, Lu Ming knew that these people were either the prodigies of the 6 great ancient families or powerhouses from the Heavenly Corpse sect. They were also the geniuses of the previous 10 Heavenly Kings. The last generation of 10 Heavenly Kings, including Jianghu, had 5 people. Without a doubt, these 5 people were extremely terrifying. In the previous tournament, they were already the 10 Heavenly Kings, and then they had settled in the Peak King's realm for 3 years. How terrifying would their battle prowess be? It wasn't that these people couldn't break through to the Spirit Ocean realm. They could do it at any time. They just wanted to accumulate more and become more robust. Once they broke through to the Spirit Ocean realm, there was no doubt that their cultivation would improve greatly and rush to a new height in a short time. Of course, the others had not shattered as many pieces, but that did not mean that there were no experts who could match Jianghu and the others. It was normal for some people to hide their strength. Anyway, as long as they shattered 9 pieces, they would pass. And the 28 broken pieces by Jianghu and the others might not be their limit. Lu Ming and the rest were at the back of the queue. It was their turn the next day. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Jian Filiu, and Fatty Kong Jin stepped onto the square together. Everyone's eyes were on them. This was especially so for Fatty Kong Jin, Xian Yanqing, and Lu Ming. The 3 of them had reached the 20th step. Boom. Lu Ming was very straightforward. He threw a punch. A fist radiance burst out and smashed onto those shields, shattering them one by one. As expected, the further back the shield was, the harder it became and the harder it was to break it. Every time a shield exploded, there would be a powerful force that was reflected back at Lu Ming. With one punch, the 9 shields exploded. It's done. Lu Ming smiled and did not continue to attack. He looked to the side and saw that Xian Yanqing had also broken 9 pieces, so he stopped. The 2 of them looked at each other and smiled. Anyway, 9 pieces were enough to pass, so what was the point of breaking so many? The rest of the people were speechless. They had wanted to see Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's attack power. They did not expect that the 2 of them would stop after breaking 9 pieces. This made many people feel depressed. It was obvious that the 2 of them didn't use their full strength at all. It was fine as long as they passed the test. Of course, there were also people who opposed it. Maybe his attack power is not high and he doesn't dare to use his full strength. That's why he broke the 9 shields and deliberately mystified it to attract people's attention. Someone snorted coldly, not optimistic about Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's chances. At this moment there was a commotion. Lu Ming turned his head and saw the fat man walking forward smugly. In front of him there were 28 broken pieces. It was no wonder that everyone was so surprised. To be able to break 28 shields, his attack power was already on par with Jianghu and the others. Who is this fatty? I've never seen him before. Where did this peerless genius come from? I've never seen him before either. Perhaps he's a disciple secretly taken in by some peerless expert? There are too many geniuses nowadays. Fatty Kong Jin looked around. He carried a huge axe and grinned, feeling proud of himself. Very quickly this batch of people had all finished and the next batch of people were replaced. Corpse King. In this group, the Corpse King went up and everyone's eyes were fixed on the Corpse King. The Corpse King was also someone who had reached the 20th step. Boom. The King Corpse was very straightforward. It directly threw out a punch, and the terrifying fist force shattered the shields in front of it. After a few punches, it had shattered 28 shields. At this moment he suddenly stopped. This guy's strength isn't bad. I feel like he didn't use his full strength. Interesting. The Fatty Kong Jin stood beside Lu Ming, his eyes glimmering as he stared at the Corpse King. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit. In the next moment, the leg of an unknown demonic beast appeared in his hand, and he began to gnaw on it. Lu Ming was speechless. He could not be bothered with him. As time passed, the candidates went up in batches and came down in batches. One day later, all the assessments were over. A total of 120,000 people took the test, but only about 40,000 passed. One could see how difficult it was. One had to know that those who could come here were all peak-tier kings, and many of them had pretty good battle power at that level. Many of them were old guys who had cultivated for hundreds of years. Alright, the first round of assessment is over. Those who have passed the first round, follow us to the other piece of the Heavenly King tablet, Dong Fanghao announced. Then he flew toward the north with the rest of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Lu Ming and the rest followed. There were 2 pieces of the Heavenly King's steel. They had already seen one of them, and the other was where the final battle of the Heavenly King ranking would take place. In front of him was a deep abyss that was at least 10 miles wide. On the other side of the abyss was a huge stone tablet. It was 1,000 meters tall and a few hundred meters wide. It was simple and unadorned. This was the second piece of the steel. There's a peerless killing formation at the bottom of this abyss. You'll die for sure if you fall in. The entire abyss is filled with astral winds, making it extremely difficult to fly. And the place of your final battle will be inside the Heavenly King tablet, which is a world of its own. In a moment, the Heavenly King tablet will emit light, and at that time you can rush in. However, the light of the Heavenly King tablet will only last for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. You need to fly across the abyss and rush into the Heavenly King tablet within that time. Those who fail to make it in will be eliminated, Dong Fanghao announced. Chapter 739. 739 The World Inside the Steel. As soon as he said that, many people's eyes flickered, and some people had a serious expression. This should be the final test, but it seems simple, but it was extremely dangerous. In the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, they had to cross the 10-mile abyss. The key point was that there were more than 40,000 people. It was too crowded. Everyone had to rush forward bravely in order to reach the steel. Therefore, in this process there would definitely be a fierce battle. One had to fight for the top spot in order to have a chance to enter the Heavenly King tablet. Everyone waited just like that. This wait lasted for half a day. Buzz. Suddenly, the Heavenly King tablet shook and shone with a bright light. Begin, Dong Fanghao announced. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. As soon as Dong Fanghao finished his sentence, countless figures rose into the air and flew toward the Heavenly King tablet. Let's go. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Jian Filiu, and the rest also rose into the air and flew forward. And NBSP hoo-hoo. As soon as they flew above the abyss, a strong wind started blowing in the abyss. The strong wind was extremely sharp, like a sharp knife, slashing at everyone. Not good. Some people's expressions changed drastically as they were caught off guard and almost fell into the abyss with heavy injuries. They hurriedly used their Zhenyuan to resist. Lu Ming and the rest also released a vital essence shield to resist the surrounding strong winds. However, in this way their speed was undoubtedly much slower. They could have flown across the abyss in the blink of an eye, but it would take a lot more time. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. Everyone stabilized their bodies, broke through the astral wind, and advanced at an extreme speed. Get lost, don't block the way. Someone roared and attacked the person in front of him. You're looking for death. The people in front roared, and a great battle instantly broke out. Get lost, get out of the way. The roars rose and fell. Everyone wanted to be the first to rush into the steel so that they could have the confidence to rush into the steel within the time for one incense stick to burn. If they all wanted to grab it, a battle was inevitable. Above the abyss, a dazzling light burst out. Ah! Someone screamed as he was shot down into the abyss. Suddenly, a sword light flashed in the abyss and that person was cut in half. His corpse fell into the abyss. There was a peerless killing formation below, and those who fell would die. Brat die. All of a sudden, a cold killing intent surged toward Lu Ming and the others. At the same time, a series of attacks enveloped Lu Ming and the others. Wang Mie, Wang Mang, you're courting death. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with killing intent. The ones who attacked them were Wang Mie, Wang Mang and some other elders. These old men were all extremely powerful and were obviously experts from the Wang family. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming and the rest exploded and blocked the attacks from all directions. Damn it, how dare you sneak attack me, you're looking for death. Kong Jin roared as he swung his axe, destroying everything. 5 old men were caught by Fatty's axe. Xian Yanqing waved his hand and enveloped the 5 elders. As for Jian Filiu, he was facing the 2 old men alone. You two stay here. Lu Ming sent the 2 elders flying with a single punch and charged towards Wang Mie and Wang Mang. The 2 men's expressions changed drastically. They had sent out more than a dozen Wang family masters, but they were all held back by Xian Yanqing and his men. This was beyond their expectations. Kid, this abyss will be your burial ground. Let's kill him together. Wang Mia snorted coldly, his killing intent soaring. Together with Wang Mang, they pounced towards Lu Ming. In addition, 2 other elders also charged toward Lu Ming. Die. The infinite dragon spear appeared, and the spear light burst out. It contained the second-level wind and thunder concepts. It was too fast and terrifying. 2 large holes appeared in the chests of the 2 elders. They were pierced by Lu Ming's spear gleam. They screamed in pain and fell into the abyss. Boom. Lu Ming's long spear swept out horizontally. Wang Mia and Wang Mang trembled and retreated quickly. Wang Mia was still fine, but Wang Mang's eyes flashed with fear as he spat out a large mouthful of blood. The bone armor on one of his arms was completely shattered. How can he be so strong? The best plan is to leave. Wang Mia didn't even think and turned to leave. Not good. Wang Mang realized that Wang Mia had turned around and ran. In his shock, it was too late for him to leave. Lu Ming stepped forward and thrust his spear. The spear radiance was extremely dazzling. Don't. Wang Mang roared as he tried his best to block the attack. However, Lu Ming's strength had improved greatly and had reached a terrifying level. Wang Mang could not stop him at all. Puchi. The long spear pierced through Wang Mang's chest. With a shake, Wang Mang's corpse fell into the abyss. Lu Ming, how dare you kill the Wang family's prodigy? You're dead. In front of him, Wang Mia roared, but he did not dare to stop. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strong. He realized that he was no match for him at all. If he stayed, he would definitely die. I will definitely kill you in the Heavenly King tablet. Lu Ming shouted coldly. At this time, the elders who had surrounded Xian Yanqing and the others were either dead or had escaped. They had suffered heavy losses. At the side, when the others saw the terrifying combat strength of Lu Ming and the rest, they were shocked and did not dare to attack them. The 4 of them charged forward together, and those who were in their way were sent flying. Lu Ming's eyes swept across the area and found that Jiang Taishu, the corpse king, and some of the most powerful people had already rushed to the front. Those who stood in their way were all killed in one move. In the end, they rushed into the Divine King's tablet and disappeared. After about half an incense's time, Lu Ming and the rest also rushed into the steel and disappeared. Soon, the time for 1 incense stick to burn had passed and the light on the Heavenly King's steel disappeared. Those who rushed in again could no longer enter the Heavenly King's steel. They could only sigh outside and fly back to the other side of the abyss. They had already lost their chance. Out of the 40,000 people, at least a few thousand fell into the abyss, and about 10,000 rushed into the Heavenly King monument. The rest stayed outside. In addition to those who were eliminated in the first round, there were more than 100,000 people gathered at the edge of the abyss. Let's see what's going on inside. Let's go, Dong Fanghao said. He then joined hands with Enlightened 3 corpse, and beams of light entered the Heavenly King's steel. In the next moment, an image appeared on the steel. That's Jiang Taishu. On the screen, Jiang Taishu could be seen flying rapidly in the sky above an empty land. At this moment, Dong Fanghao waved his hand, and the scene changed into another one. A young man in a red robe killed an old man with 1 punch. Above him and the old man's heads, there was a stone steel shadow. There were 3 wisps of chi in the stone steel. At this time, the chi from the stone steel above the old man's head all flew towards the young man in red robe. The stone steel above the young man in red robe turned into 6 wisps of chi. That's Wang Ju, the pride of the Wang family. He was ranked 8th among the 10 heavenly kings last year. Many people recognized this young man. At this moment, Dong Fanghao waved his hand again and the scene changed. The Heavenly King tablet could actually display the scene inside. Lu Ming felt the world flash and he appeared in a desolate desert. Above his head, there was a floating shadow of the Heavenly King's steel. There were 3 gray gases swimming inside. Chapter 740. 740 The expert of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Every person who rushed in would have a similar Heavenly King steel apparition above their heads. There were 3 auras which were called steel chi. As long as one killed or defeated another, one would be able to snatch the chi from the other party. When all 3 chi were taken away, one would be transported out. And the final ranking was also determined by the amount of steel chi. In the world of the Heavenly King Steel there were only 3 days. In other words, one had to obtain as much steel chi as possible within 3 days. After 3 days, the person with the most steel chi would be ranked first on the Heavenly King ranking. The top 108 people would be the final 108 names. Therefore, these 3 days were destined to be brutal. There would be endless battles. Finding a place to hide wouldn't help him obtain the final spot. Xian Yinqing, Jian Filiu, and the others weren't nearby. It was obvious that they had been randomly scattered when they entered. It said that the Tao of inscription can't be used in the world of the Heavenly King tablet. Let's try it. Lu Ming waved his hands and started to inscribe runes on the ground. The inscriptions flew into the ground, but the next moment, they disappeared. Next, Lu Ming tried to inscribe runes on himself again and realized that the result was the same. He could not stop it and it collapsed directly. As expected in this place, one can only rely on one's martial cultivation and not the Tao of inscription. Lu Ming pondered. Let me out for some fresh air. He did not know when Dandan had climbed onto Lu Ming's shoulder again. Previously, Lu Ming had stuffed her into the Supreme Shrine. Dandan, you should return to the Supreme Shrine. This place is extremely mysterious. I'm afraid there are some important people observing. Don't blame me if I catch you and braze you. Lu Ming reluctantly stuffed Dandan back into the Supreme Shrine. After that, Lu Ming randomly chose a direction and soared into the sky, flying into the distance. Hand over your monument chi. Not long after, Lu Ming met an elder. He did not expect the elder to turn and run when he saw Lu Ming. Lu Ming chased after him hurriedly. How fast was Lu Ming's 9 dragons heaven-treading steps? He caught up in a few moments and punched out, causing the old man to spit out a large mouthful of blood. I'll give you all my steel chi, don't kill me. The old man cried out in fear. He secretly sighed in his heart that he was unlucky. He did not expect to meet Lu Ming, this monster, the moment he entered. The old man stopped resisting. He knew that Lu Ming wanted to kill him and he could not resist at all. Lu Ming strode forward and shattered the Heavenly King Steel shadow above the elder's head with a single palm strike. The 3 streams of steel chi above the elder's head all flew into Lu Ming's Heavenly King Steel shadow. At this moment, a beam of light enveloped the old man. The next moment, the old man's figure disappeared and reappeared outside. After Lu Ming obtained the 3 traces of steel chi, he continued to fly in search of his next prey. There were only 3 days left, so he had to make full use of the time. In the next 3 hours, Lu Ming met 7 people in a row. One of them resisted with all his might and was killed by Lu Ming. The other 6 surrendered and obediently offered their steel auras. Lu Ming's steel chi had become 27. Outside, everyone was staring at the Heavenly King tablet. The images on the tablet kept changing. It seems that the strongest group of people this time must be the young ones. No matter how long the older generation has cultivated, their talent is still limited. It's hard for them to compete with the peerless geniuses. That's right. This time there are even more geniuses. Not only the top 10, but I'm afraid the top 20 will all be taken by the young Heaven's Pride experts. As we've seen just now, Jiang Taishu, Wang Ju, the Corpse King, and the others are almost invincible. They've swept all the way. Hey look, that's Lu Ming. In front of him are the 2 old geezers from the Heavenly Corpse sect. At this moment, the screen suddenly flashed and Lu Ming's figure appeared. At this moment, Lu Ming was flying forward. On a mountain peak not far ahead of him, 2 elders were hidden. They exuded a cold and gloomy aura. The 2 old fogies from the Heavenly Corpse sect are extremely powerful. They're the most promising candidates for the top 108 this time. This is interesting. Lu Ming is about to be ambushed. Many people widened their eyes and looked at the scene on the Divine King's tablet. Dongfang Hao didn't change the screen either. He seemed to be interested. Lu Ming naturally did not know that there were 2 experts waiting for him in front. He flew forward at top speed. All of a sudden, 2 black shadows flashed at high speed. 2 sharp glints were aimed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. The spear's gleam condensed and swept toward the 2 black shadows. There was a loud boom and Lu Ming's figure swayed slightly. The 2 figures also retreated. Refined corpse. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that it was 2 refined corpses that had ambushed him. The 2 refined corpses were tall and strong. They were wearing black battle armor and holding 2 black battle swords. Their eyes were flashing with blood-red light. It's that kid called Lu Ming. He's the genius who has reached the 20th step of the Heavenly King monument. A faint sneer was heard as two black-robed figures appeared beside the two refined corpses. They were two old men who were so thin that they were only skin and bones. They looked like two skeletons and were extremely gloomy. The only difference was that one of them had a thick corpse chi while the other had a ghost chi. Such a genius has endless potential. We must kill him now. Otherwise, he will be another disaster for our heavenly corpse sect in the future. The old man with ghostly chi sneered. Just you two old ghosts? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Brat, your combat strength is not bad. I'm afraid that any one of us is no match for you, but do you think you still stand a chance if we join forces? The old man with corpse chi grinned. The next moment, a huge bush appeared under his feet. The coffins opened and more than a dozen refined corpses flew out. Each refined corpse was wearing black armor and holding a black sword. Their aura was extremely powerful. Although these refined corpses were only peak-tier kings, they were all extremely powerful, much stronger than ordinary peak-tier kings. This could be seen from the two refined corpses that had just ambushed them. However, this old man could control so many refined corpses of peak-tier kings. This was terrifying. Do it. The old man with the corpse chi bellowed, and the dozen refined corpses roared and pounced at Lu Ming. At the same time, the old man with the ghostly aura moved. He threw a punch and the world was filled with ghostly wails and ghastly howls. A black fist radiance was sent flying towards Lu Ming. Strong. These two old men were very strong. They were the kind of old monsters who had cultivated for hundreds of years. I'll kill you first. With a sweep of his spear, the three refined corpses were sent flying. At the same time, he threw a punch with his left hand to offset the fist radiance of the old man with ghostly chi. Then he strode toward the old man with corpse chi. You want to kill me? The old man with corpse chi smiled coldly and controlled the rest of the refined corpses to surround Lu Ming. I can't be bothered to waste my time with you guys. Lu Ming put away his infinite dragon spear and cast the explosive star fist. In an instant he had thrown hundreds of punches. Each fist ray was infused with the intent realms of wind, fire, and thunder. Especially the wind and lightning intense, they had reached level 2 and their power was terrifying. Hundreds of fist forces drowned the refined corpses. Chapter 741. 741 The Battle with Jiang Taishu. Bang. Bang. A series of explosions rang out as the dozen refined corpses exploded. Lu Ming strode toward the corpse chi elder. How did this happen? The old man was shocked. More than a dozen indestructible refined corpses had been blown up by Lu Ming. How could Lu Ming's attack be so terrifying? His heart trembled. Not good, quickly retreat. The old man roared in his heart. He wanted to escape, but it was too late. The explosive fist radiance drowned him in an instant. The next moment, 3 streams of steel chi flew into Lu Ming's Heavenly King steel illusion. On the other side, the ghostly old man was almost scared out of his wits as he frantically fled. A spear ray pierced through the void and nailed him in the air. Outside, many people gasped when they saw the scene on the Heavenly King tablet. This Lu Ming is too terrifying. 2 extremely powerful old monsters of the Sky Corpse sect were killed by him as easily as breaking dead branches. The difference is too great. He completely crushed them. In my opinion, Lu Ming's combat strength has already reached the peak of that level. He's not much different from Jiang Taishu, Wang Ju and the others. He can even compete with them. Terrifying, truly terrifying. Clearly, Lu Ming's combat strength had shocked everyone. At this moment, Dong Fanghao waved his hand and the scene changed again. Following that, as time passed, they would occasionally see the strong fight against each other. Some of the powerhouses who had been thought highly of and had the hope of making it into the top 108 also clashed. Some died in battle, some fled with serious injuries. The most eye-catching ones were some young geniuses. Needless to say, Jiang Taishu, Wang Ju, and the others who had been part of the 10 Heavenly Kings in the previous generation were known for their strong combat strength. On top of that, Xian Yinqing, Fatty Kong Jin, Corpse King, and the other newly risen Heaven's favorites were also extremely powerful. Many powerhouses died at their hands. With the addition of Lu Ming, there was no doubt that the top 10 would be born from these people. Time flew by and half a day had passed. Lu Ming's gains were getting bigger and bigger. He already had 150 traces of steel chi in his Heavenly King Steel's illusionary shadow. Look, Jiang Taishu and Lu Ming seem to be getting closer and closer. They'll meet soon. Someone suddenly called out from outside. Dongfang Hao and Adept Three Corpses seemed to want the crowd to see them clearly as well. They switched between the images of Lu Ming and Jiang Taishu. The crowd saw that the two of them were flying towards each other and seemed to be getting closer and closer. They would meet soon. Everyone's heart began to race. Could it be that these two heaven's favorites are going to meet so soon? Everyone was looking forward to what would happen when the two of them met. Lu Ming flew forward at top speed looking for prey. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed as a figure appeared in front of him. Jiang Taishu. Jiang Taishu strolled in the air and discovered Lu Ming. His eyes gleamed sharply and a powerful aura bloomed from his body. Lu Ming, you're unlucky to have met me. If you obediently let me take your monument qi, you might still have a chance to live. Jiang Taishu stood in front of Lu Ming and spoke indifferently. Oh really? I also want your monument qi. Lu Ming licked his lips and said. Jiang Taishu's projection of the Heavenly King's steel definitely had more than 200 traces of steel qi. Lu Ming was very tempted. Ah, you want my steel qi? You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Let me tell you, the higher you climb on the Heavenly King's steel steps, the stronger your combat power is. So be it. Today, let me kill you and let the world know what a true heaven's pride is. Jiang Taishu's eyes were full of killing intent. The sharp qi around him grew stronger, like a peerless divine weapon that could cut through everything. Back then, on the steps of the Heavenly King's tablet, Jiang Taishu had warned Lu Ming not to step onto the 20th step, but Lu Ming had ignored him. Who was he, Jiang Taishu? He was actually ignored by Lu Ming. At that moment he already had the intention to kill Lu Ming. Now that he had met him, how could he let Lu Ming off? It's said that the Jiang family cultivates a god-level cultivation technique, the immemorial divine weapon technique. I'd like to experience it. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with a strong fighting spirit. Jiang Taishu was one of the most powerful kings. He was curious about what level he was at. The war is about to start. In the outside world, everyone was also excited as they stared at the screen above. As expected, Lu Ming and Jiang Taishu had encountered each other. Judging from the situation, a battle was about to break out. They were looking forward to this battle. Who do you think will win the battle between Lu Ming and Jiang Taishu? In my opinion, it's most likely Jiang Taishu. After all, he's a veteran powerhouse. 3 years ago he was already extremely terrifying. In the past 3 years he must be even more terrifying and his combat strength has become stronger. His goal is to aim for the first place on the Heavenly King ranking. That's right. Although Lu Ming is a peerless genius with terrifying potential and talent, he's still a little weak. He can't be Jiang Taishu's opponent. What's important now is how many moves he can take from Jiang Taishu and whether he'll be killed. The crowd was in an intense discussion. Within the Heavenly Steel's world. Buzz. The sound of metal clashing came from Jiang Taishu's body. A terrible sharp qi exuded from him which could tear everything apart. You will see it, but the price is death. Jiang Taishu stepped out and struck his palm at Lu Ming. In Lu Ming's eyes, this palm was like a heavenly blade that could split everything. His essential core exploded and Lu Ming threw a punch. Violent true essence gathered in this fist and exploded. Lu Ming's fist collided with Jiang Taishu's palm. A dull boom rang out between heaven and earth. Both of their bodies trembled and retreated. Jiang Taishu, fight with me. No need to test me. Just give it your all. Lu Ming's eyes were bright. Then I'll fulfill your wish. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. At this moment, it was as if thousands of weapons were clattering in unison. Jiang Taishu's aura was even sharper and more terrifying. Shattering intent. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Jiang Taishu's intent realm was the shattering intent realm. It was an extremely terrifying intent realm. Like Xian Yinqing's destruction intent realm, it was more of an offensive intent realm. Its destructive power was extremely terrifying and could destroy everything. Moreover, Jiang Taishu had already cultivated the shattering will to an extremely terrifying level 2 lower tier. Yes, Jiang Taishu's shattering will had reached level 2 lower tier. Coupled with the immemorial divine weapon technique that Jiang Taishu had cultivated, the combination of these two techniques was absolutely terrifying. Kill? Jiang Taishu bellowed as he strolled forward. He swung his arm like a sword and slashed it at Lu Ming. The fusion of the wind and thunder concepts erupted. The War Dragon True Element circulated rapidly as Lu Ming threw another punch. Boom. A terrifying tremor was heard. The ground kept exploding under the bombardment of the terrifying qi, and huge pits appeared. The two figures trembled for a moment before they steadied themselves. That Lu Ming is so powerful. He could actually block Jiang Taishu. The people who were watching from the outside were extremely shocked. Lu Ming's strength had exceeded their expectations. Chapter 742. 742 Defeating Jiang Taishu. Kill? Jiang Taishu's eyes turned even colder. He had to win today. He had to kill Lu Ming. His goal was to become the strongest esper, the number one. How could he be stopped by Lu Ming at the beginning? Jiang Taishu's entire body turned into divine weapons that could destroy anything. Lu Ming combined the two second-level concepts of wind and thunder, in addition to his powerful essential core, and used the explosive star fist to fight Jiang Taishu. The two of them turned into two beams of light and kept bombarding each other. It was extremely terrifying. The nearby mountains were destroyed and the earth cracked. It was like the end of the world. Outside it was silent. Everyone held their breath and watched with wide eyes. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and Jiang Taishu had exchanged more than 50 moves. Heavens, what kind of combat strength is this? It's too terrifying. Is he still in the king's realm? With such battle prowess, even a normal first-level spiritual ocean tier martial artist wouldn't be able to withstand a few moves and would be killed. It's too terrifying. Peerless talents. They're peerless talents. Once they break through to the spirit sea realm, they'll advance by leaps and bounds. They might even be able to compete with the top 300 or even the top 200 in the Battle of Providence. Many people were discussing in shock. If someone like Jiang Taishu, who had entered the 10 Heavenly Kings 3 years ago, had broken through to the spiritual ocean realm earlier, he would probably have entered the top 300 in the ranking. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming and Jiang Taishu exchanged more than a dozen moves in a row and shattered a mountain peak. The two of them stood in the void. In Jiang Taishu's eyes, other than shock, there was also murderous intent and anger. He did not expect that he would be stopped by Lu Ming. Bus. And NBSP whoosh. The sound of weapons vibrating could be heard. A huge mountain appeared above Jiang Taishu's head. The mountain was made of bare rocks and was filled with all kinds of weapons. The 9 Esilavira chakras were extremely bright. It was Jiang Taishu's bloodline. Kill? Jiang Taishu waved his hand and the countless weapons on the mountain flew into his body. His aura became stronger and his skin even glowed with a metallic luster. Bang. He stepped on the void and charged toward Lu Ming. It seems that he has finally used his strongest combat power. That's good. It's time to end this battle. Break. Lu Ming said softly. The prison-suppressing steel's bloodline erupted. Lu Ming stepped forward and struck out with his palm. The prison-suppressing heaven art. There seemed to be a prison-suppressing steel in his palm, suppressing the 9 nether prison with supreme power. Thump. Lu Ming's palm and Jiang Taishu's palm collided. The space where the two exchanged blows trembled violently, creating water-like ripples that spread in all directions. Then everyone saw a figure rapidly retreating. The retreating figure was Jiang Taishu. One of his arms was trembling, and his palm was even a little twisted. The people who saw this scene could not believe their eyes. The ancient Jiang family cultivated the immemorial divine weapon technique, and their bodies were even tougher than spiritual weapons. Every move they made contained boundless power that could destroy everything. However, in a head-on confrontation he was actually suppressed by Lu Ming. His palm was injured and he was at a disadvantage. Impossible. Jiang Taishu roared at the sky in disbelief. What's impossible? You're strong, I'm stronger. Lu Ming stepped forward and continued to attack. Lu Ming, you must die. Jiang Taishu let out a long howl and attacked again. However, after a few moves he was forced to retreat. His arms were severely deformed and even his bone armor was shattered. Blood spurted out of his mouth. If you want to kill me, then I'll kill you. Lu Ming strode forward, his eyes filled with murderous intent. In the outside world everyone was shocked. Not only had Lu Ming defeated Jiang Taishu, but he was also going to kill him. Jiang Taishu was a rare talent of the Jiang family. In the future, he had the potential to compete for the throne of the Jiang family's successor. Lu Ming actually wanted to kill him. How bold. Bang. Jiang Taishu was no match for Lu Ming. He was sent flying by Lu Ming and coughed up blood. At least 7 or 8 of the bone armor on his body was broken. Lu Ming, if you dare to kill me, the Jiang family will not let you off. Jiang Taishu roared. Haha, the chosen warrior of the Jiang family, an ancient family. You lost, and you still have the nerve to use your family name to suppress me? Now that the battle of Kismet is approaching, do the elders of your Jiang family dare to attack me? Lu Ming laughed without fear. For a large family like the Jiang family, if the disciples behind them lost in a fight with their peers, their elders would not take action, because they would not have the face to do so. The competition in the big clans was even more brutal. Not only did they have to compete with their own kind, but they also had to compete with the geniuses of other forces. Only then would they have the qualifications to inherit the clan. Damn it. Jiang Taishu roared and retreated frantically, trying to escape. Escape. He had to escape and gather all the other powerhouses of the Jiang family in the world of the Heavenly King's monument to kill Lu Ming. You can't escape. Lu Ming gave chase. He had always been decisive. Since he had offended them, he would kill them. Young Master Taishu, run. We'll stop him. 3 sharp lights suddenly flew over from the distance and blasted toward Lu Ming. They were 3 old men like 3 divine weapons, extremely terrifying. Without a doubt, they were the 3 powerful old monsters of the Jiang family. Jiang Taishu was overjoyed. He performed a secret skill and fled forward madly. You're looking for death. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He instantly struck out with his palms and kicked out. The 3 old men were sent flying backward, coughing up large mouthfuls of blood. Their eyes were filled with shock. Each of the 3 of them had cultivated the immemorial divine weapon technique for more than 500 years. They were definitely top experts among peak-tier kings. They could kill a large number of ordinary peak-tier kings with a wave of their hands. However, despite the 3 of them joining forces, they were still attacked by Lu Ming until they vomited blood. And NBSP, it was too terrifying. Kill? Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps and flashed past like a phantom. He struck out with his palm. Bang. One of the elders was torn into pieces and all his steel chi went to Lu Ming. After that, his figure did not stop and he continued to kill. Soon the other 2 old men also followed in his footsteps. Each of the 3 elders had close to 100 chi. In this way, Lu Ming's chi had skyrocketed to more than 400. It's a pity that Jiang Taishu ran away. Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning as he looked in the direction where Jiang Taishu had fled. At this moment, Jiang Taishu had already disappeared. Lu Ming took a step forward. He continued to search for prey while refining the blood essence. The energy of the blood essence was all transferred to the second bloodline. Since the higher the level of the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline, the more powerful the prison-suppressing heavenly technique would be, Lu Ming decided to upgrade the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline first. In the outside world, countless people were shocked. Jiang Taishu, the most promising genius who was most likely to win the first place, had been defeated so early. In the end, the 3 elders risked their lives to stop Lu Ming and they managed to escape. It was beyond everyone's expectations. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.